Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ask Me Anything. Guys, you'll notice it says Terri Hardin live in the corner. This is not an old AMA. This is a newer one. Just for some reason, I had a glitch in my StreamYard and it reverted back to Terri Hardin live. So I will get back to where it shows my Instagram, but I didn't want to do that and be late. So that's why I did that. But what are you looking at here? Remember, we talked about Godzilla and my Godzilla. I believe it was the last AMA, and some of you wanted to see what I was describing, and I didn't have pictures. So here is Godzilla. You see the fishing village behind. That's the model from Imagineering. My sculpture in place with the paw, and then the edge of the boat. So hello and welcome. Yay! How fun is this? So you notice in my thumbnail, it's me at the microphone. That picture will change every week. So make a note of that picture. And that way, if you need to revisit this, you can. For those of you who are revisiting this, thank you for coming back and joining it. And I urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel because then you can kick back with a nice cup of tea or something to eat and enjoy yourself. Woohoo! Woohoo is what I'm going to say. So before we get started in the AMA today, I just have a couple of little things that I want to address before I jump into that. My questions are here thanks to Leo Holzer, and Leo warned me that some have not asked questions. So what I'll do is show you some things that might make you want to have a question, that might make a question bubble up inside you, and then you'll want to ask it. And for that, just post it in the comments below or in the comments over here, and I will get to it about halfway through my AMA. Also understand, if you're watching it live, it can go long. Don't feel bad if you have to leave. It's okay. I talk a very long time on these Ask Me Anythings because this channel, I realize, has been designed and will continue to evolve, of course, because I'm learning every day on YouTube and on my Facebook Lives. But I was asked by viewers if I would go longer because they want to come in from the cold of reality, COVID-19, what our government is doing. Maybe you're struggling with life in various ways. And this is a chance to come and sit by the fire, get yourself warm and cozy, have a nice cup of tea, maybe a little something to eat, and listen to fun stories and anecdotes that come to my head or come through you guys. Okay? So it's going to go at least 2 hours, could go 3, but don't feel like you have to do the whole thing. And if you're coming back, please post in the comments that you came back and what you liked about the show, and realize that when you do come back, you can pause it and come back and pause it and come back, you know? Oh, love tea. Technology is a beautiful thing. All right. And yes, subscribe, hit the bell, join me. And thank you for those who have already joined me. Every day is a learning curve when it comes to YouTube, and I'm working on getting better and better and better. So I hope you will subscribe so that you can see my growth and let me know if I'm doing okay. I appreciate that. Okay, so like I said, a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to show you. I want to do a little unboxing. I like doing unboxings when somebody sends me something. And this is from Herbert Dennison. Hi, Herbert. And I wanted to open it. I have not opened it yet, but I kind of like to share this with you. It's not like a big dragon is going to jump out or anything. I trust. No dragons. Well, dragons, but not the kind that are aggressive. So here you see he sent me a lovely little note. And look at how cute that is. You guys and your notes, just so doggone cute. And what he says is, I wanted to give you this gift that I created as a thank you for all the wonderful pieces you have created. Isn't that sweet? And look at the inside. Isn't that cute? Thank you, Herbert. And you know, you don't have to do this, but I'm not going to lie and tell you that it doesn't bring me great joy when you surprise me like this. And Herbert is surprising me. So, so I thought I'd share it with you and we can all be surprised. It's in, he's recycled. Either that or I've got an energy efficient starter kit. Maybe my feed is too dark. No, that's not what it is. Oh, look. Oh, you can't see. Sorry. Okay, so let me do it this way because this is probably the best way to do it, is to show it to you like this. There we go. So can you guys see? Look at this. So Herbert built this. And this says pull. Oh, how cute is that? Guys, can you see? Isn't it? It's a Lego Jack in a dune buggy. But look at this, guys. Do you see that? Is that awesome? Herbert built this. And he gave me one. And this one says pull also. So let's pull. I see. Because when you pull, it takes the tape off. Look at that. Oh my goodness, guys. And I'm going to gently see if I can remove him here without hurting anything. Oh, he's so cute. And he's sitting gently on this platform here. So I have to be a little bit careful. I'm shaking. This is a good demonstration, guys, of of a nervous thing when you are a collector and you have something. Let me just turn that off. There we go. And somebody gives you something or you buy something like one of my pieces, you get a little bit nervous. But here he is. Oh my God, he's so cute. And this like turns. Look at that. Oh my God, it's really cute. Herbert, it's adorable. Oh my goodness. I have to find a place to put him and I have to be very careful. But how adorable. But you see how nervous I got, right? So that's one of the reasons that, you know, you try to make things as easy and simple. Oh, he really is darling. Easy and simple, like words like pull, and you pull it up and it protects everything, you know. Same with this strip that says pull. Just makes everything great. Herbert Dennison, I want to tell you thank you. You'll be getting a thank you note from me very, very soon. And I want to just thank you so much. I'm going to put it with its little card in my, you really shouldn't have, you really didn't have to, but I am so glad you did. Thank you. Wowzer. Wowzer, wowzer, wowzer. That was just, oh man. That was really, really super cool. So today we have some things that you can ask questions about. I'm going to start the questions in a minute. Last time we spoke, we talked a little bit about dinosaurs. Have you been watching it? Have more questions popped up? And I will show you as many visual aids as I possibly can. Before I start, I want to tell you of an appearance that is going to be happening. So simple, easy events. Yes, here we go. Simple, easy events. What is simple, easy events? You know that the person who pops in here often is Tim Gillette, and Tim Gillette is doing this weekend a simple, easy event. And at 2:20 p.m., no, 1:50 to 2:20 p.m. Central Time, which is Texas time, because Tim is broadcasting from Texas. You can see me on there being interviewed about listening to you guys and why that's important. Now, what is that Pacific time? Because you know that's my first question, and that is 11:50 tomorrow, 11:50 to 12:20. I know that it's kind of, you might be saying, why did he do 11:50 to 12:20? He has a process. Now, if you go to look at this, I encourage you to go and watch the whole thing. And if you go to Simple Easy Events, it's $20 and you are opted in for everyone after that. I think it just goes and goes and goes. It's not $20 each event. It just keeps going, and he sends you the information, you go, and you get to listen all the time. That's just like a gate fee. And then you get the right to come back. You're like VIP, you know? So I hope you will consider this. This is a super exciting thing. And I wanted to share it with you. And again, it's tomorrow, which is the 6th. And I'm going to talk about listening to your audience, and also at the place. And I have the schedule right here. Let me tell you what else. It starts at 10 a.m. Texas time, which means 8 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're up and you want to see what's going on, feel free to listen to Tim Gillette. And then you're going to have some people talking about making marketing personal, community share, social platforms, podcast monetization. If any of this sounds interesting to you, starting something new in 2021, that kind of sounds cool to me. You've got this opportunity to pop in and see it. And that's where I'm going to be speaking. So I want to make sure I got those announcements in, because, hey, this is something that when it's important to you, and I'm going to be on it, you might want to pop in and see what I have to say. It's going to be an interview situation because, like I said, this has been, it's been a crazy week. Okay, let's get to the questions. Okay, and understand that with those questions, there will be things to look at so you won't be bored. And if you see something that strikes a question in you, post it in the comments, because I'm going to go there at after I've gone through a certain amount of questions. I usually do it, say, right now, we've been about 12 minutes in, and I'd say probably around quarter till or 10 o'clock, I'll jump over. Sometimes it's a little bit later, but it kind of depends on how long it takes me to get through some of these. And also, I usually like to stop, if possible, around noon. And the reason being because my husband goes to work and I want to make him lunch. That's the real reason. But I want to give you guys a good amount of my time on these days, because reality can be scary. So let's do some fun stuff. Okay, here we go. Without any spoilers, tell us what you thought about last Friday's WandaVision. Has it made you more curious about what's to come? Well, let me tell you something more about WandaVision, okay? I saw previews of the one that either drops tonight or drops, I don't know when they actually drop. My husband comes in and says, new WandaVision, and we curl up with popcorn, or I make dinner or something and we watch it. So I kind of depend on him to give me the Wanda alert. But it was very interesting. It's them walking into an area that looks like they're in between. Are they in between worlds? It's a lot of clouds and lightning, and they're very confused, and it's not their neighborhood. So I'm very curious about what that means. Now, those of you who are Marvelites, you may know what that means, but I don't. And my husband gets a kick out of watching things and seeing whether or not I go, I don't understand, or, oh, that's it, So it's a show that I highly recommend if you want to bond with your Marvelite and you haven't really been able to truly bond before. I think this show does that. Guardians of the Galaxy kind of did that, but not really. My husband likes Guardians. He acknowledges Guardians, but he kind of looks at it like it's not really Marvel. It is, but for him, it's not what he really digs about the Marvel genre. So, but I do. And he loves a lot of characters in it, like I do. But if he had his choice, he'd be looking at some of the other characters, the characters that are important to him. And that's one thing that's great about Marvel. It has so many, you can fall in love with a whole plethora of characters, can't you? So the real, back to what I was saying, the real joining, the real exciting thing about it is that, okay, there's something that's a little strange here. And I'm just gonna exit. Popped up and it was like, weird. Okay. Sorry. Things come across your screen and you're like, okay, is it important? Or can I just say thank you and good night? But anyway, yeah. So I think WandaVision is a great way, at least for me. I can only speak for myself, okay? But I highly recommend it because it tends to it's exciting. It holds my attention. And I'm someone who's not a true Marvelite. So it's great to be able to connect with my husband and have a thing that we both like and we both enjoy, and he doesn't have to have me asking, why is this? Why is that? Why is this? And one of the things, because I'm not into the Marvel, stuff, that I don't do is I don't ask, he says it's just filled with Easter eggs and clues and things like that for all of you guys who love that stuff. And he doesn't, pardon me, he doesn't need to tell me about it. He doesn't need to do it. He just enjoys it, and I just enjoy it because there's so much for both of us. And so that's why I like WandaVision. And so I don't know if I answered that question well enough for you, but the bottom line is, yeah, go watch it. It's cool. And now we've had 5 episodes, or this is the 5th. So have curl up on a Sunday. You owe yourself a break and turn off your phone and just pop that on and pop your favorite popcorn or your favorite meal and roll with it. It's fantastic. It's great. It's great. Now that dinosaurs has been added to Disney Plus, Brian hinted in a newspaper story last week he'd be willing to revive dinosaurs should Disney be interested. Yeah, what's that gonna look like? Some fans have said the series ended at the perfect place in the storyline. Knowing it's not your decision, if there were to be an extension of dinosaurs, do you think it should be a movie? An extended single season, or something that could go on for multiple seasons? How many of the original Muppeteers could perform the grueling physical work required for the relaunch today? Would you want to be part of it? I'd love to be part of it. Would I be part of it? I don't know. You see what I mean? Things, people in their mind, it's different. I'd love to be a part of dinosaurs. I think I am physically up to it. And I think I would, my hope is that Kevin would come back and do baby and that he would call me to do the arms and I would be ready to go. Now, what you may not know about dinosaurs is during the final season, and I wasn't there during the final season. So I think dinosaurs went for 5 seasons. And then in the 4th season, I was put on Flintstones, the movie. I won't go into all the details. If you want them, ask the question. But the reality was they needed to drop one puppeteer, and I was the lucky winner of that ticket. But Brian didn't just, he simply needed performers for the Flintstones, and I was moved over there and given a really great opportunity to work with someone I had always dreamed of working with, and that is many of the actors like John Goodman and Elizabeth Perkins and Elizabeth Taylor, and all kinds of people. I got to meet the B-52s. A big fan of B-52s, and I got to meet them all, and it was really lovely. So, no big deal, right? Well, yeah, I hated going away from baby. And later, Kevin told me it was a mistake, which it was. Breaking up Team Baby and not keeping your original team is always a gamble, and I don't think it was a good one. Why? Because I got left behind. I just know me and what a team player I am and how far to the mat I'll go. And I don't think a lot of people are like that. I think that's one of the reasons my sculptures are so well received is because I just won't give up. And there are people that have a threshold, I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, I would like to do it. But what I started to tell you about dinosaurs was that there was a movie that was being considered, rolled around in the brains of all the people nearing the final season. And it never happened. But they may, if they were wise, they would try 6 new episodes to see how you guys liked it, or they would do a movie. Yeah, a movie, because the movie is 2 hours long and we can kind of see who likes it. Both would be on Disney Plus now for the most part. I don't know if it would be released in theaters, but it would be something that they could then gauge how you guys like it, whether or not they should do more. And 6 episodes would be a way for them to do it. 8, 10, those are the numbers that people tend to do now. Back in the days of original dinosaurs, when we were doing a season was 22 to 26 episodes. They don't really do that much anymore. Take The Crown, for instance. I think the latest season was 10. Yeah. Woohoo! And that way they can, a couple of reasons. One, they can put more money per episode if they want to. They can really dig deep. And 2, if it turns out that it's not as popular, they can kind of see when it kind of comes down, whether it's not popular with the performers inside, they're starting to get a little antsy, or it's losing, visual viewers. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So I would say those are the 2 that I think I would do. And I think most of the original Muppeteers would be fine because Bill Barrett is still very strong. He's Earl. Leaf, unbelievable. And then on the outside, you've got Steve Whitmire, which I would just love to be working with again as Kevin Clash. These 2 people I love very much, and I think they're just amazing. And I've missed working with them. And then Mac Wilson is the person who did Earl for the most part. And oh my gosh, if they were willing to bring him back, that would be beyond cool. That would just be beyond cool to have Mac back, because I miss Mac and he had a really fun, dry sense of humor that he would work with Earl and be around us, and he was just a pleasure to be around. And I haven't seen Alan in a while, so I'd love to see Alan. Brian, of course, must be a part of it. It would not be as fun of a show without Brian Henson. And, his dad came up with this concept, and it would just be great to have, as many of the original people together as possible. Jane Gutnick and everyone who is in the Creature Shop. It would be great to get the band back together. Yes, indeed. I would love it if the band got back together. That's my position on that. Let's get the band back together. That's what I would like to have happen. Yeah, I think that would just be so special. And since you're talking about dinosaurs, let me show you a couple of things that I found. I didn't get a chance to put this in my iPad or my phone, so I have to do it the old-fashioned way. But remember that I talked about side salt and pepper characters. Well, here is one where sailors come back into town, and this is one of my characters that I did on the sidelines. And so I thought what I'd do is share with you some of these side characters. So I'm going to show you this while I prep my phone to show you some of the other sideline characters from dinosaurs. I think I took some pictures. I think I did. I thought I did. Oh, great. Maybe I didn't. Bad me. Let me see if I did. Oh, yeah, here's another one. Same deal. Here's the other one. There it is. And again, this is the sailors, and then the little dinosaur on the right is the girl, and it's one of those classic ones where the sailors go to like a dance hall, and these women are, they're paid, they get a certain salary, and they dance with the different sailors. So you see the sailors there, and they're in the dance hall there. So there's that one. I'm trying to see if there's any more that I put in. No, that one's all blurry. Oh, okay, good. I did one that's just like my photo skills like kind of suck, I guess. Here's another one that you'll enjoy. I will try and make it just a touch bigger and down. There we go. This one is from When Food Goes Bad. And you can see my face down in the lower right corner. And I'm holding one of the food. This is one of the pirate foods. I know he's a little bit soft. But here's an example of the hole. So the floor was 4 feet. Let me just pop in to talk to you. The floor was 4 feet. So above me here, just as you see along here and along here in the picture, is the hole. The floor was 4 feet elevated so that puppeteers could work from underneath the floor. So it was in a grid pattern. The floor is popped, and then you get to be inside. So here I am during a test, and this is the sequence where the food trips Charlene. You may remember that Charlene and Robbie get tripped and then tied up later. So there's that one. I hope you enjoy that one. Let me see if I can show you another one. So I mentioned that Charlene and Robbie are trapped by the food. So the food gets out of the refrigerator and it goes bad. And here it is again. And you can see that there I am right at this corner, right? Wait, I got to see because it's little. That's me right here again. And I'm working a different character. He's got the flags. And then over in the far side, you see Misha. And Misha has got his head off because he's playing Charlene. And they'll soon suit him up as Charlene. And the food has them all tied up. So this is during a break. These were pictures I wanted to get scanned and share on Beretta Brothers, but there's only so much time the Beretta Brothers had. So asking me this question really works because then I can show you guys on my channel what's happening. Okay, and is that everything that I have on the dinosaur front? Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like that's all I got. Yeah. But that kind of gives you an idea of some of the behind the scenes, like this picture here, behind the scenes of the salt and pepper characters we got to play, the voices we got to do, and things like that for dinosaurs. So I hope you're enjoying that. Any other shows you've seen on Disney Plus that are worth mentioning? Any recommended, any to avoid? You know, I haven't seen many to avoid. I'm trying to think if there's any that I didn't like. No, I don't think so. At least not right now. I don't see. One of the things I have to tell you, full disclosure and very open and honestly, is that I don't get to see sit and watch a lot. I have to set it in my calendar. I have to book it in my calendar. So let me just show you a little example of my life here so you can kind of see how crazy it is. I put everything in a paper book. Many of you are great with the phone, but this was January. Okay? This allows me to take a look. I'm just going to zoom it. If I can find it, I have to kind of feel for the zoomer. There it is. Okay. So here's my book. You can see that this is my week. So I can open it up. And when I tell people I'm busy, I can basically show them, hey, I'm busy. You know, you can actually show a person, look, I'm busy. And here I am here. The back of the week looks pretty good, but that's only because I haven't returned some messages and stuff. But look it up here, guys. I mean, we're not even in the first week, and look at this already. So this is what happens to me. Isn't this a cute book? I love this book. This is such a cute book. I love this book. But that is what happens to me. And I have to be able to look at it at a glance, or I will make some serious bad errors. Bad errors. So I like to be able to look at it, all the squares together. It just doesn't work for me on the phone, and it doesn't work for me here. That's because I'm 63. I have it here. Okay. I have it in an iCalendar or a Google Meet calendar, whatever they're called, but I don't always have my computer with me. I always have that book with me. So that's the deal with that. So what am I trying to say? On Disney Plus, there's not a lot of time for me to watch Disney Plus. Like today at 12, I will go in and hope that Gavin Newsom is going to update me on a little bit of what I call my reality check. I'll watch it for an hour, hear what my health department has to say and my governor has to say, and then click, it's off. Okay. Mainly because there are things you need to know. In reality, you don't want it to come in too hard, and you don't want to obsess it. It'll scare you to death, right? So don't let it get you really anxious and everything. And I watch, just to let you know, I watch a channel called KTLA 5. And one of the things I like about it is that it's not an expensive, they don't have a lot of money. So they do the best reporting they can, and they do what I think is a fine job, but they also tell you uplifting, heartfelt stories. Okay. So yesterday when I was watching it, and I only watch it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but yesterday I watched it. I can't remember why. I wanted to see the Screen Actors Guild nominations because I'm not a nomination committee person, but I am Screen Actors Guild and I'm going to need to vote. And I also wanted to find out if some of the movies I liked were some of the movies they liked. And kind of. But so I tuned it in, and there was this great story about a little boy sitting in the back seat of his car, and his father is deployed from wherever he was, service person. And he walks up to the side window, and you know how children sometimes are on their iPad or whatever. He looks up from whatever he's doing, and he does this take where it looks like he recognizes the face. You can actually see in the little boy's face the forming of who it is. And then the father takes the hat off and says, "You don't recognize me?" And the boy pushes the car door open, jumps in, and just buries his head in his dad's shoulder. And they just hold on that picture of this little boy who's just hugging his dad so tightly, legs around the waist. Classic kid, father holds your child pose. And he's just got his little head buried in the neck. And it's just, he's not going to let go. And it was just so wonderful. It filled the heart with joy and excitement. And oh my goodness, you start to cry tears because you're like, yay. And you get to celebrate someone else's joy. And that is why I like that channel. They share the joy, or they'll say to you, there's a show called Unscripted. I will tell you, it's hit and miss. She's super bubbly and super cute, but sometimes the show can be interesting and sometimes not, just like most shows. But she had a thing where she talked about the weighted blankets. Have you heard of these? Where apparently if you have a weighted blanket, it calms you at times when you're not feeling so calm. And I'm looking for Christmas presents for my husband. And I thought about that because he can get very anxious at times. He's in the real world. He doesn't get to necessarily escape even as much as I do. And I thought, would that be a good gift? Anyway, I'm on the hunt for a birthday gift because his birthday is this month. So I got to hear about the weighted blankets. I had seen people say, I have this weighted blanket to make me feel calm. And I was kind of like, huh? So it was great that they kind of went into about the weighted blanket and stuff like that. And she always tends to look and see. Right now, she's talking about what can you do or have for Valentine's Day. Because Valentine's Day, coming as it is, people are asking for different things. They would like to have a break. They would like to have a me day. Moms are asking for a me day. Honey, can you take the kids out to the park, social distance, be safe, but give me time, where perhaps me time for a mom means a bathtub, a glass of wine, and a book, you know, that me time to kind of reset when they can't. And the husband may feel the same, let's have a little us time. And what does that entail? What does that mean during COVID-19? So that's exactly, I'm looking at this because my pictures all of a sudden decided to do their own thing. And so I'm just going to get back to, there we go. Okay. So yeah. So there you have it. There you have it. So to answer you, shows I like on Disney Plus, anything that involves Pixar shorts. Not Pixar shorts to put on one leg at a time, but the short films. I just love them. And what Pixar seems to be doing is posting the Pixar little short videos of the practice. So you've got your animators and they're practicing by doing these short films, and they're absolutely darling. And they're called Pixar shorts. Sometimes they're called popcorn, Pixar popcorn. And it's like a little quick pop of a show. And they're just super cute. And they're really super cute. And I love those. And then any documentaries that talk about the people who work at Disney, behind the scenes of the cast members. I love these cast member shows because it lets me kind of get an idea about the person behind the counter. So you have tons of these people who are cast members at Disneyland, and they are the people that help create the dream that is Disneyland, Disney World, et cetera, et cetera. So they are the painters with their kindnesses and their joys and their friendliness and their openness at the various levels, the ride operators, the candy makers, et cetera. I love learning about all of them. I have a very good friend who's a security guard, and she often tells me stories of being a security guard and what she loves about it and what she doesn't love about it. But she's always wanted to come and work for Disney. Originally, she was a cab driver, and she came down here to work for Disney and be on property. And it's a challenge right now, but they love working and they do such a good job. So as an Imagineer, we build and construct the attractions that you know and love. But the people who really give you the magic are the people that you interact with when you're at these parks. Yeah, when you're at these parks. And my friend Chuck, he just came back from Walt Disney World. Those are the people that paint the pictures that make it beautiful. I can remember last January that my dear friend John E. Johnson, he took me to Yak and Yeti. You've heard me talk about Yak and Yeti, Yak and Yeti, Yak and Yeti. In fact, so much, you're probably getting sick of it. But the reason it was so great is because we sat at the bar and there were two people who were making the drinks and bringing in the food to us at the bar that were absolutely a joy to visit with and chat with. And they were very busy, but they just juggled that being busy and doing what they needed to do with talking to you at this bar. And it was just amazing. And then the other guests that are next to you, also super cool. So this is what I love. So back to Disney Plus, they have a thing called Behind Disney or something like that. Disney Story, Disney. And it's about these people. And I love it. I just am so hooked on it. I just love it. Love it a lot. Love it a lot. Okay, what else we got? I imagine you getting more digital download sites, DVDs, and tons for your consideration promotional campaign pieces as Hollywood gears up for the award season. What are some of the better movies, TV shows that you've seen? What a nice question. Thank you for asking. We've gotten a lot of DVDs, but the thing that's interesting about getting DVDs, the actual DVDs, is that a lot of them are on these platforms, Prime, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. They're producing a lot of content, and that is cool. Like my husband was saying the other day, he was wondering if we should keep Netflix. I would agree. If I'm going to watch something that I've seen already, maybe Netflix isn't the venue. But Netflix's original content is fantastic. And it's great to see Netflix, either what they have picked for their channel to show you, or they've actually produced. That's what I like, the Netflix originals. I got to tell you, I love Netflix originals. I also like Amazon Prime originals. I like their content. So I'm not so eager to pitch Netflix because I like their original content. You've heard me mention a show that Netflix created that was not up for awards called Surviving Death. And I just love it. I think it's a really great, fresh, different point of view about the afterlife and things involving the afterlife. And do you believe everything? No, but you don't have to. It's a very, very well thought out show. The author of the book that it's based on really inspires me because she let me just grab, I want a little more tea. See my new teapot? Isn't it cute? Yes, my husband bought it for me. Allows me to do this. Whee! Everything's a game with me, right? Yay. Yay, yay, yay. Yum, yum. Okay, so on my Patreon page, my dear friend, Dr. Deanna, as I call her, suggested that I get a teapot that keeps water warm so that I can have more than just one cup of tea when I'm talking, because I talk for about an hour on Patreon on Mondays and Fridays, and then I talk to you for about 2. Do the math, 3 to 4 hours, depending on how into stuff we get, right? So depending on the questions on the back end, it's really what really does it. These questions here, amazing. But if I do these questions here and then I do questions at the back end, sometimes there's a lot of talking involved. Anyway. There we go. Anyway, I love that teapot. I love it, love it, love it. Put some water in it. Make myself happy. Woohoo! Oh, boy. Yeah. So I think that is just the absolute best thing. And, you know, sometimes it takes someone like Dr. Deanna Shanley to help me with, you know, what do I want to have? And this time I was saying I like that teapot because, there we go. There we go. Yay! Oh, more. So today on Patreon, I talked about a place called Wing Hop Fong, and this ginger tea packet comes in it's little granules, and this is one of my favorite things to have. It calms you. Ginger is good for settling the stomach. Ginger is just all around good for a plethora of things that help you. And I was running out of it, so I raced over to my favorite place, Wing Hop Fong in Arcadia, and got some more with my good friend I hadn't seen in a while. So we double dutied. Remember I said do something nice for someone? Well, and it can be nice for you. We actually sat and had lunch together. She's not in my bubble. We sat 8 feet apart and had a really nice lunch from a favorite dumpling house that I love and she loves. She introduced me to it. And then we also went to Wing Hop Fong, which is like, oh. So anyway, so that's what my tea is today, a ginger tea. Between my pot and my hot cup, I'm set in this office. So thank you for letting me just take that little pause, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. So the movies I like. I love what is it called? The Trial of Chicago 7. I'm crazy about this movie. Now, my husband is not crazy about this movie, but I'm crazy about this movie because I look at it for the story and the acting, and the story and the acting is amazing. And I don't mind feeling I guess, feeling. And my husband, he doesn't like strong emotions coming at him. Rah. He likes to, he doesn't mind it, but there's a couple of jarring things that happen in that movie that really get you. And I am grateful for that. I like those kind of movies that take those kind of chances, you know? And then, what else can I tell you? Was trying to think of the others. I actually have a list here because, so let me just tell you some of the ones that I've seen. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Okay, have you heard of this one? Where you've got Chadwick, who plays a trumpet player. This one will be a little emotional for you if you love Black Panther, because you will remember how strong and robust he was in Black Panther. And in this one, he's a little more worn, more tired, a lot of pain. And the movie is a lot of pain. And my husband just really won't watch it again. And I will watch it again because for me, my husband can take in stuff first time, but sometimes it takes me twice. This can be good and this can be bad, but I think this is an amazing movie, a must see. And then one of the movies that was nominated is called Minari, about a Chinese family having a dream and them pursuing it. I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's just amazing. And then there's another movie that I've been told I've got to see. Let me just see if it will let me go there. I keep trying to scroll up, and that's not how it works. That has Frances McDormand, you know, from 3 Billboards. This actress is just brilliant. I love her. And the movie is called Nomadland, that I'm eager to see. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it. So what does this mean? These when they announce the Screen Actors Guild announcements for you, like they did yesterday, Wednesday. They did it Wednesday. Then what happens is now, as a Screen Actors Guild member, I will start to get the links to see these online, or I will get DVDs. So they'll soon send me my code. And as long as I'm a paid member, I will either get to link up and see it. Now, the challenge for me that makes me excited about this, yay, is that I'll get to see HBO and Showtime. I'm not a subscriber to HBO or Showtime, so I'll get to see those things that I have to vote on, and I'll get an idea of whether I want to subscribe to Showtime and HBO. Remember, I said that now that many people are membership sites like Disney Plus, Peacock, which is the NBC version, CW has one. The one that's Star Trek, what's that one that you have to pay to see the new Star Trek series that they have, et cetera, et cetera. These all have fees, monthly fees. And if you're not careful, you'll be paying $100 a month. So I have to pick and choose carefully, since I don't watch a lot of TV. I have to pick and choose, and I recommend you do too, that you pick and choose which ones you're going to watch, because otherwise your money is whoop, 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 bye. And if you're not watching them, ow, you know? And I got to tell you, one of the ones I watch all the time is Criterion. And it has nothing to do with awards. It's like the 100 best movies and things like that. And it's got some weird stuff. And I love to look at the foreign films on that one. And then I'm a big fan of Kurosawa and the Zatoichi sagas and the Lone Wolf and Cub sagas. So that's where I can see those. But they are not, their monthly fee is up with HBO and Showtime. I think it's like $10 or $11 a month. So I really have to know that I'm watching that. Otherwise, it would have to go too, you know? So anyway, that's the situation. Okay, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Will Lindsay be up for an Emmy? No. How kind of you to ask this. The question is, will Lindsay be up for an Emmy or industry award? No, those days, I have to say, have passed. The structure of the business is different for him. And he's now in promotional, which means that if you have a show like This Is Us, which was nominated by Screen Actors Guild for performance by an actor and also ensemble. But This Is Us, let's say they have a new season. So over the holidays, they take a hiatus and then their season kicks up again in January, February. So he does the promos on the channel that you watch that says, next week coming or whatever. And they don't really give awards for promo anymore. That's the new division that he's in. He's in the marketing promo department and he does that. And it's a good spot for him because he can dig deep and just roll them out and make them happen. And so it's a good spot. He's one of those people that likes to be behind the camera. You've noticed he doesn't really like to be on and being, so it's the same when he won Emmy Awards. He was always a little, he knew he had to go on stage. You got to do it. But he was a little reluctant. He's kind of shyer than most. He really doesn't think that he has all that much to say, and he really does. Some of the best speeches. I can remember when they dedicated a statue. They had a memorial for Keith Jackson, his father, and being the eldest, he was going to have to give a speech. And he really didn't want to. But being the eldest, his mother was like, you must give a speech. And there were hundreds of people, not as many as there could have been. There could have been hundreds of thousands, but there were still more than two. And he really, but I had a conversation with him and I said, keep it short because the audience will appreciate it. And I made a suggestion of what he might talk about. And it turned out being the most talked about speech, and it lasted 2 minutes. So it's not what you say or how you say it. It's not exactly what you say or how you say it. It's the joy in which it's given. And so, yeah. So there we go. Can we get an update on the Hitchhiking Ghost second set details and an update on Rolly Crump chess set? Any images or prototypes? No, I haven't been able to sculpt. And it's getting a little tiresome. Okay, this week was very difficult for me. I wanted to send out the Hitchhiking Ghosts, and I got them boxed and ready to go and realized I had made a major mistake. Yeah, another one. Ugh, this one wasn't as dramatic. But my Hitchhiking Ghosts that illuminate, and for those of you who may be going, huh? Let me show you what I mean. Let me see if I have any on my phone, or I will shift over to my iPad so you guys can see them there. No, I have a little bit here. You can actually see the difference, actually. Here they are. Here are the two different ones that I offer. Okay, there you go. Okay, so on the left is the illuminating ghost, and on the right is the blacklight ghost. And this is the blacklight ghost before being hit with the blacklight. And so the illuminating ghosts are going out now. The blacklight ghosts are being created, and we have a lot of the blacklight ghost available because I haven't really aggressively marketed the blacklight ghost. But the illuminating ghosts, I have about 10 sets left, and they're wonderful. They're this side of wonderful. They really are beautiful. But to make them illuminate, the key thing that I forgot was how to open them up. So basically, I needed an instruction sheet to show you how to open this part up right here. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here? This is Gus. He illuminates. There he is. There is light. There he is. Isn't he beautiful? I mean, if I turn this off, it's even more. I mean, he's amazing. He's just amazing little ghost. Okay, but when you get this and you pull it out of the box, now what you've got to do is turn it over. Is this scaring you already? A lot of people, this scares. It's true. So I had to create a little instruction sheet that tells you what to do and how to put batteries, how to twist this off, how to twist this on, and how to put the batteries in. You've put AAA batteries in before. I know you have, but that doesn't mean an instruction sheet won't make you feel better. He's really in there, so he's not going to fall off, but you really do have to have a firm grip when you do this so that you don't run into problems. And today on Patreon, I showed that sheet to help people understand it better. Do you understand it? Do you follow it? They said yes, but I had the wording wrong. This says open here, and I don't know if you can really see the word open. But it says open here, and it says the word lock here, and I had said close. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that so that it says lock as opposed to saying close, and then pretty much do everything again. But it just basically shows you how to put the batteries in here so that he lights up. But to mail him without this instruction sheet would have been terrible. This would have been a disaster. Okay, so I had to stop everything. I had to sketch that up, and now it's going into the boxes. So the January ones go out tomorrow, which I know is February 6th, but the first ones are always the most challenging to get out. You want to make sure every detail that you have planned is indeed happening. And I had it all boxed. I had it ready to go, about to launch into the great world for you guys. And only 5 can go out a month. So I'm already behind. I got to make sure my January and my February go out. So it's a little stressful, but this week was stressful. All I'm going to say for those of you who are in from the fire is COVID-19 and family. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give you the tawdry details, but they just, things coming across my bow I wasn't prepared for. And when that happens to you, just hold on for dear life, right? Right. So here is that cute little Gus, and there he is. And then the blacklight ghost, that is the other set, which the person who asked this question, which could very well have been Leo. But the blacklight ghosts are a little different. And I don't know that I have them in here, but I can easily switch over to my iPad because they are in my whoops. Hey, cut that out. There you go. Thank you. Finicky things. But you just go, okay, I'm good with finicky things. No problem. We got this. So the blacklight ghost that you're all curious about is here. So you saw him in his famous, attractive, just waiting, there we go. But this is the way he looks in blacklight. So you saw him non-blacklight. Let me just show you non-blacklight. So there he is, non-blacklight. And then here he is, blacklight. Okay, so that's the second set, the more affordable set. And that's because there's an external light. I don't have to tell you about batteries because there are none. In fact, I don't have him here, but there are no batteries in him. So he's lighter, he's still stable, he's still cool, but yeah, he's he's blacklight ghost. If you're interested in knowing more about them, post it in the comments. And I'll answer there, or you can message me or email me if it's more of a private conversation. Okay, what else do we have today? You wanted to know about the Roly Crump chess set. Yes, that is pretty strong. It's moving forward. And maybe I'll have more on that next week because I'm really eager to get sculpting them, but I got to get my ghosts out first. Here's what happens is, as an artist, you have to say to yourself, you have obligations. People have prepaid for these ghosts and they'd like to have them in the month that they asked for them. So I've got to get the January ones out. February's got to go out. And then I can do my fun stuff, which is the chess set. If I do the fun stuff first, other things fall by the wayside. So needless to say, and this is a good thing if you work for yourself. If you're not at a job where someone is saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, you have to be that person. You have to be in your own head saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. So that's where that comes from. Yeah, that's where that comes from. Let's see. People often, blah, 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 blah. People often ask, let me look up while I do this. People often ask how you become an Imagineer, but one of the Terri Facebook page followers wanted to ask you for more information on how one gets voiceover work. How much voiceover work have you done? A ton of voiceover work. Okay. So this is a question that has two hats. How do you get into voiceovers, and what might I do to do voiceovers? Okay. Not I, Terri, but you guys. Okay. Voiceovers. Thank goodness for a protein shake. Okay. So today it's a lot easier to do voiceovers than it was back in the day when I started. And that is not I worked uphill in the snow both ways. You guys have an easy speech. Okay. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you how to do voiceovers. And, you have a wonderful thing called the internet and social media. You can demonstrate on your social media page your different voices. But if you don't want to do that, and many voiceover people do not, because a voiceover artist has the incredible ability to mimic. So if you just post your voices, like I've often said about your artwork on an Instagram page or a TikTok or a YouTube, you run the risk of somebody duplicating your voice. Seriously, it's possible. Not always, but it's possible. So how do you do it? Well, first of all, back in the day, you used to have to go into a soundproof recording booth and record. You had to actually go someplace, have someone record you, put the cassette together or the CD together, and you mailed them out. All right, just a little history here. I've done a lot of voiceovers. I've done some that are kind of famous, like the Voice of San Diego. I was the Voice of San Diego for 3 years. Must-see San Diego. But I'm not like I'm not like Bill, who does Goofy, or Mark Silverman, who does a lot of Don Adams, forgive me, and Rod Serling. But I still do a lot of voiceovers because there's tons. The difference is union or not. And this is a difference. As a union person, you can do a few, but as a non-union person, there's a ton available. And sometimes as a union person, you can do it as well, especially now during COVID. But what you would do is you would record your voice. Now, in today's world, it's called MP3. You get yourself a decent microphone. Doesn't necessarily have to be this beautiful, but it can be like a Yeti, or it can be something that really makes your voice sound well. And as my husband says, there's a bunch that go with your voice. So you got to test them. Try one. If it doesn't do it for you, try another. Or you can do it on your iPhone as best you can if you're on a budget. Nowadays, if a person wants you to record, they work it out. But it's good to many people use a closet and take clothes, any hard surfaces, and they'll use their clothes as the damper. Okay. Because the booth had these packing cone-like, if you're in a booth, it has foam that dampens the area, so you have only your voice. A lot of people put clothes in a closet to keep it from bouncing off any hard surfaces that you have. Or you can have you seen those blankets that they wrap around furniture? You can buy those on Amazon or something, hang them around you, and that makes a nice booth. Basically, what I'm saying is you can do it at home, okay? What would you do? You would Google voice, not websites, but platforms. I guess platforms. Anyway, you'd Google voices, A couple that come to mind are Voice 123, and I think there's another one called Voice Over. Anyway, you go there for a small fee per month, I think it is. you can upload a little bit about yourself and a reel of your voices in an MP3 format that a person looking for a voice like yours, warm and toasty or high pitched and silly, and then they download the MP3 and they decide whether they want to hire you or not. What's cool about this is that I've always wanted to do the voices that you get that you hate from automation. To speak to a human, forget about it. Push 1 and take out your aggressions. Push 2 if you are irritated and no longer want to speak with us. Push 3 if you're just insane. So basically, those kind of voices, I love doing those. I think those are really fun, and I haven't had the chance to do them. But these sort of voiceover platforms are places you can do that, and that's where I would start. But you start by doing a reel. Pull up a recording site, get a good microphone, and get some copy, and just go for it. And then you upload it to one of these sites. This is one of the things that you can do. The other thing that you can do is just listen, for people who are voiceover people, what they have to say. Also, many will say you need an agent. So how do you get an agent? Well, you got to do a reel, an MP3 reel, audio reel, and then you just send it out to agents. Again, you would Google voiceover agents. You would send your reel out. They would listen and decide if you want to be adopted. Okay? So that's kind of how it works. You just kind of jump in. One of the people who asked this question asked me about a specific call letters, and I didn't know that one. So I'm not going to know them all. Me, a lot of times when I do voiceovers, it's word of mouth. Somebody hears about me. I'm going live all the time. So they're saying, I want it more towards your natural voice. I hear you, if you do a podcast or whatever, and they hear that wonderful round voice of a podcast, it's very possible if you created a podcast or you created a little this, which is live, this could cause people to reach out to you and ask you to do a voice. They may look at your range, your range from here to here. And it might be, they might say, hey, try this, being a Muppeteer and being a part of Henson's often allows us to audition and play voice characters for the Henson characters. We're allowed to do our voices first if it's a Henson production. And if Brian likes it or it sounds proper for the character, he'll just let you do the voice because the puppet works better that way. Disney doesn't usually do that. And that's one of the things that I think is very frustrating about Disney is that they don't ask you to do a voice. They want a voice person, which is really insane because that's what you are, really. A voice person who does puppets, a puppeteer who does voices. I mean, it's crazy. Don't get me started. But voiceovers are something that are, you just do. The other thing you can do is create a production and voice it, But yeah, so that would be, I hope this answers your question. I know I can't give you super specifics, go to this site, go to that site, do this, because there's a plethora of things that you could do in nowadays, but involving the internet. And then you can, on LinkedIn, you can say aspiring voice person. If you need someone for your voices, that's in your description. If you need someone to do voices, I would be very happy to lend my voice so I can get the experience, for example. Another way to do it. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's the way that with me, people will reach out because I have several films and TV that I've done the voices. Maybe they've heard it. Or they've heard about me through word of mouth. So once you get the momentum going, people reach out and say, why don't you try Terri? She has a smoky low voice. Or why don't you, use the various people? It's just keep, don't give up, right? Don't give up. Yeah, don't give up. That's I hope that helps. Let's see. Yeah. Have your parents and or your mother-in-law received any of the COVID vaccines set? Whoa, a little reality, right? My mom has. She's in a convalescent hospital. She's gotten her first one. And My dad is due for his first one end of the month. And the jury is out on the rest. Yeah. A lot of people ask me if I'm going, and I'm only 63. So I'm 2 years behind what's allowed now. And but I'm eager to do it. I'm eager to go get the vaccine. I can't wait. Right now, it's crazy though out there, isn't it? You know, you have all these locations, but no vaccine. So hopefully that'll all get fixed, because the sooner the better, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Closing the door of reality. We're going on. What is the strangest thing that you've kept? And do you remember why you kept it? Yes. Would you like to see it? Okay. One moment. Well, it's not the, yeah, it is. It's strange. Okay. Here we go. Where is it? I got a couple. Well, the first one, it might be strange to you, but it's not to me. Okay. So the first one that's a little bit on the strange side, you may say, is this one. A little bit dusty. I'm not one who dusts. This is a skeleton fully assembled of a rat. You see it? Okay. Woo! Yeah. I'm a skull and skeleton fanatic, because as a sculptor, the bones are the foundation of the body. And if you know how the body works, your sculptures are going to be better. Actually, your illustrations are going to be better too. Some people don't like skulls. I happen to love them, especially if they come from a place that's very humane, because things die. And that's the case with this one. And yeah, I love him. So if I'm doing anything that involves mice or rats, I have this actual skeleton here. I also have one of a fully articulated bat. And then I have tons of skulls. If you're someone who likes the skulls, yay for you. If you're someone who doesn't like the skulls, I understand. Okay. But that's an odd one. That one is a little strange, right? Of course, once I share with you the reasoning behind having skeletons and bones and skulls, you kind of realize that that's normal, because bones are the foundation of the body. And if you don't know what's happening underneath the skin, your sculptures can sometimes be, if you're going for realism, let me say that. If you're going for realism, they can sometimes be off, because you've not realized where is bone and where is soft stuff. You see, this is soft. If you thought bone was here, it could make the face very distorted, right? Okay, but you asked, what is the strangest thing I've kept and why? Okay, let me find him. Oh, there he is. You asked for it. Are you ready? Okay. This is a preserved rat. This is a rat in formaldehyde. I mustn't drop it. I don't know how well you can see him, but there he is. I've had him for years. Okay. I know if you're getting creeped out right now, I apologize. There is a reason. Let me get that out of the way so it doesn't. But you see, now you can see his tail here and his little feet. He still has his fur. If it creeps you out, I won't mind if you change the channel. He's actually all curled up like he's sleeping. He even has his little ear right here. Okay. I'll move in closer so you can see it. There's his little ear. And if I turn it, you can see his little head. See, doesn't he look like he's sleeping? I think he looks like he's sleeping anyway. If I move my hand away. If I turn in more, there's his little paws, his tail, and his feet. Okay, for those of you who might be getting a little creeped out, I'll take him away. Remember, you asked about the weird about the weird things that I have. Now, why? Years ago, when I was when I was an artist, just before I became Imagineer, I met another quite magical artist, sculptor, and he was having trouble with something he was making that was very large. I cannot remember what it was. And he wanted something light and airy because he was going to hang it in a museum over people's heads. And he didn't want it to be overly heavy. First things you're thinking about might be fiberglass. Yikes, you're going to have to bolt it to the ceiling, right? So he wanted something light and efficiently light. And so enter a material I use that has structure and is very soft. It's a foam material called L200. And I took him a piece and then I sat with him for 2 hours and I sculpted with him to show him how this structure works. Okay. And he bought sheets. He made this. People went crazy for it. They couldn't get over how light it was. They loved it because it was like a big pterodactyl or something. I don't remember what it was really, but it was something big and it floated. It kind of, if the wind caught it or a door opened, it kind of animated it. And it was really cool. And he was so grateful. Well, I'd say, a year later, he dies. And I was just, you know how it is, someone you care about. And I received a letter in the mail saying that the will was going to be read and that he had left me a couple of items. Full disclosure, it wasn't money. And I was like, I cannot believe he even put me in the will. Why did he, what? You know? So when I got there, what he had done is he had willed to me all of the sheets of this material that I had introduced him to. He actually willed so I could keep. And for years, I had stacks of it in my garage, and I would just pull from it when I was sculpting and building. And it's expensive stuff. He had a good stack. That was the first thing he willed to me. The second thing he willed to me was this little mouse in formaldehyde. And I was like, whoa, what? And a snake. I don't have the snake. Because the thing about snakes, when they're preserved in formaldehyde, is their eyes glaze over and they look like they're possessed. And this was a white snake in a bigger jar and his eyes were covered over. And it was just a touch too eerie, even for me. Even though I'm about structure, I love to know about the body and its processes as a sculptor. But this was a bit much for me, seeing this snake. And I have a friend who adores snakes. He just loves them. In fact, you might have seen him on, I forget what channel it was, where he was the monster maker. His name is Cleve, and he was the monster maker. If you saw that reality show, that was him. And he's the one who took the snake. Yeah, because he was really into snakes. He built a lot of snakes for the industry and stuff. So it was a good reference for him, and he was happy to take it. And I know my friend wouldn't have minded me passing that on, but I kept the mouse, and it's the only thing left of my friend's gift to me, that he willed to me, that I have. I have this little mouse. So yeah, it's weird and creepy. There it is again. For some of you, it's too creepy to keep, but for me, I'm really happy to have it. And he's just precious. He's started, it just goes to show. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, 30 years. This is a long time ago that this was given to me, and he's preserved beautifully. So it's great to have him because it reminds me of the proportions that a mouse has, of the little feet to the furry body ratio, to the head to the body. It gives me a living example, but it's not living, it's dead in formaldehyde. But that's my weird thing. What an interesting question. And I appreciate you giving me that question because I had not gone to that story in a long time. So I thank you for that. And if that was you, Leo, that's a killer question. If it was someone else, thank you for that question. It's great. It's interesting. Who's the one director, one studio, and the one co-star that you haven't yet worked with that you'd like to? One director, Clint Eastwood. Do I sound like a broken record? Clint Eastwood. Production, Clint Malpasso. Malpaso, Clint Eastwood's production. Co-star Morgan Freeman. I would love to co-star, not even co-star. Seriously, guys, I was thinking about this the other day. As far as Clint Eastwood is concerned, I would be happy to say one line and then be killed, as long as I could be directed by Clint Eastwood and in a Malpaso production. I just love the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I know I would have a great time. Before this, my bucket list when I was very young was to work with Francis Ford Coppola. And I did Captain EO. And guess who I got to work with? Francis Ford Coppola. Guess who directed me? Francis Ford Coppola. The Godfather director. The movie I just love. The movie I would watch in a New York minute is the Godfather saga. It's brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's so much I could tell you about The Godfather that I love. And then getting to work with Francis Ford Coppola directing me, what? Just a dream come true. And then I'm working with Michael Jackson and Angelica Houston. Whoa. Okay? Whoa. Just, wow. Wow. Now, I will also tell you, another co-star I always wanted to work with was Whoopi Goldberg. And although our movies aren't amazing, working opposite her was a joy. She just is so deep, smart, strong. I loved knowing her, getting to know her. It was fantastic. To be, you remember I told you about T-Rex, Theodore Rex, and the movie is not great, but let's talk about the people I met and got to talk with and be introduced to, because Whoopi knows everybody, and these people would come on set to visit with her, and she would introduce them to me like I was her best friend. And this is the way Whoopi is. She's just such a lovely person. And she would talk to me about people I loved. And she would talk to me about her, I would say to her, you are one of the smartest women I've ever known. I've always loved you. And she punked me on sometimes. And she introduced me to some amazing people. At the time, the guy who was playing James Bond walked onto the set, and I was like, whoa, James Bond. And then one of the best people I met was a guy who knew her in high school. And he was on the set hanging around. And in between breaks, I would talk with him. And it was just a joy to hear about the young Whoopi Goldberg and her dreams and goals before she was the Whoopi Goldberg. This is the thing that I love, is to hear about people when they weren't famous. Whoopi Goldberg and her struggles, her challenges. What made you keep going, Whoopi? What was it in your heart and in your soul and in your fiber, your blood and bone, that made you keep going? And it's people like her that just were so inspiring. Her kindnesses that she showed to my family. She didn't have to do that, and she did. And just working with her was just a dream come true. So I've got to work with people that I have either learned were fabulous to work with. Maybe I didn't think of them off the top of my head, but then I'm thrown into a movie where I'm working with them. I mean, a perfect example is Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver and the people and Ernie Hudson, especially Ernie Hudson. From the people of Ghostbusters, Ivan Reitman, and just everyone on that film. And here I am, a young girl. It's only my second film, who actually gets to meet and get cast by, you're working on a film. You're doing the best you can because your integrity as a builder, designer, creator is to give it everything you've got, no matter where you are. You give it 100%. And then you get blessed with something. You get blessed with working with I loved Dune as a book. Over my shoulder was Frank Herbert, the author. Huh? You see what I mean? It's cool. But to answer this question properly, I've got to say Clint Eastwood. Because when I was a young girl, I fell in love with a couple of films that I can't even tell you at the time why, but now I can. And one of them was The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I watched this a lot. I love this. So I might have mentioned last time that as a young girl, what I really liked is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because it involved a young white girl and a young black man and the adversity they were getting from their families. And it helped me to understand my parents' position, black father, white mother. So I love that movie to this day. And then when I got to meet Sidney Poitier and being able to tell Sidney Poitier, yes, what? Got to tell Sidney Poitier about this, to thank him for this film and what this film meant to me as a young girl. And it's the same with talking with Whoopi Goldberg, because Whoopi Goldberg remembers seeing Star Trek and yelling to her mom, "Mom, there's a black woman on TV and she ain't no maid." Direct quote, Whoopi Goldberg yelling to her mother. These were strong things. And now we've got this year, one of the things that was said about the SAG nominations is that it is the Screen Actors Guild and our nominating is the most diverse. We have all walks of life in our guild, and we vote for all walks of life based on performances. And it's one of the best, if not the best, awards that you can possibly get, is one from your peers. So it's just, I've worked with a lot, and it's not to brag about it. It's just to say what a benefit to have this opportunity to work with these people as colleagues. I don't have a lot of pictures because it's not about fandom. It's a coworker, you know? And Ernie Hudson, who absolutely had a great time on Ghostbusters, but later mentions that he's signing a poster that doesn't even have him on it, you know? And he wonders, they have the black guy off the poster. Why? You know, sometimes you look at that. In Star Trek, many will say the person wears a red t-shirt, but they're also black. What's that about? You know, that stuff. But back to Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was in a movie called The Good, the Bad, the Ugly by Sergio Leone, and it was one of his first. I was so eager because Clint Eastwood is so amazing. His directing is amazing. His acting is amazing. The man is amazing. Maybe he has views that may not work. Don't care. I'm talking about performance, and I'm talking about his body of work. Wow. So he's doing a little thing on TV. I think it's called like Dr. Kildare, where he's playing a side character. And even more interesting is he does, what is the film? I think It Came from Outer Space. I could be wrong about this, Clint. So if you happen to be gracing me with your ear, I apologize. But he plays a pilot. He's actually behind the breathing apparatus as a pilot. My husband would know this right away. And next time I'll tell you what the movie is. But he's behind, and you can tell by his voice it's him. You don't even see his face. He's that new. He's that young. He hasn't yet become Clint Eastwood of Malpaso, giant body of work. Amazing man, right? So I'm watching him because I am an actor. I want to be a character actor, and I want to know about your journey. I'm excited about your journey. So I'm watching Clint Eastwood's journey. I did this with Harrison Ford too. Different guy. But Good, the Bad, the Ugly comes along. Sergio Leone comes along, and this is the movie that apparently put Clint Eastwood on the map. His Blondie, his Man with No Name. And so I would watch it, and I would watch it. The thing I like about Sergio Leone, and believe me, had I been able to meet Sergio Leone, he would have been a big one on my list. Especially after meeting Eli Wallach, who plays Tuco in the same film, and asking him many of the questions that I would love to ask Clint Eastwood. Eli Wallach told me a wonderful story when I got to sit with him and tell him how much he meant to me as Tuco in this movie. And he autographed a picture for me that I have. This guy is a big deal, Eli. But when I was talking to Eli, I said, what was it like to have this young, up and coming kid? Because Clint Eastwood was a young kid. He was young. And Eli said he was so shy that when he came to meet him in New York, Clint Eastwood came to meet and talk with Eli Wallach in New York. He stood against the door with his back to the door like this and said nothing. Can you even imagine that about Clint Eastwood? I mean, let that picture drip over you a little bit. So shy he couldn't say 2 words, which is probably one of the reasons Sergio Leone had him speak so little. And he speaks slow and so little. And the movie is so cool because what happens is it's 3 people that are not in the situation. Okay, so a lot of times if you have a movie, like I told you, I love the Chicago 7. It's about the trial of Chicago 7. So it's the Chicago 7 and the trial of the Chicago 7. It's not about the people watching or affected by Chicago 7. You follow me? And it's the same with some of these other movies that I've suggested. They're affected by it. It's not about the people. But Good, the Bad, the Ugly is not about what's happening in the world, but how 3 different men deal with it. So it's the Civil War. The Civil War is happening. None of these men are soldiers. They are just guys who the war broke out. They come from different areas, different attitudes. So you have Angel Eyes, who, another amazing guy, Lee Van Cleef. Angel Eyes is a killer. His decision has come. He's the villain. Okay. Angel Eyes is our villain. He has become a villain because easy for him, I guess. Kills easy. But even as a villain, he doesn't go on rampages. He's very calculated. He has rules. He has a code that he goes by. And when he gets a contract, he always follows it through. This is what Angel Eyes always says throughout the picture. Whenever I get a contract, I follow it through. It's really chilling. It's one of the greatest villains you're going to see. He does a fantastic job and just fantastic. Even the way he works his gun. And if you watch that, I told you I watched this movie a lot. His drawing of the gun and holstering of the gun is different from the other 2. Then you've got what I would say is sort of your comedy relief character. That's your Eli Wallach and Tuco. But Tuco is not to be mistaken for the funny guy. He is very, very dangerous, but he's more extroverted. He's playful about he's wanted everywhere. He's a killer. He's a womanizer. He does all of these things he shouldn't be done, and he's there. Well, what you find out that he's from a poor family, and he took a road he chose, and that's how he's living. He soon meets up with Blondie, who's known as the Good, and Blondie is this soft-spoken, cool-walking, quiet, sharp-shooting guy who he doesn't kill to kill. He kills if he's about to be killed. He kills if necessary. Now, these 3 fellows, none of them are involved with the Civil War, but the Civil War is going on and affects these 3 fellows. And there you've got the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you've not seen it, see it. It's amazing. Watch it twice. I love this movie. And it had been my mission to meet these 3 men. So I got to meet these 3 men. And I met Eli. I did not get to meet Clint Eastwood. And I followed Clint Eastwood. Now I'm following him in his films. I'm watching his growth from Dirty Harry, where he's wielding a gun that's bigger than he is, and the acting chops in that, which I love the Dirty Harry films too, cheesy as they are, I'm a fan. And then Clint Eastwood coming to a crossroads in his life as he got older, what to do with him as a performer. Clint Eastwood, now what's my choice performance-wise? How do I move forward? What do I do? I'm doing very well as a director with Any Which Way You Can, Any Which Way But Loose, those kind of funny films. People are liking those. But even later in life, you've got some duds and you've got some that are cool. I personally think Bronco Billy, I love you, Bronco Billy. Barf. My own personal opinion. And then his sequel to High Plains Drifter. One of my favorite is High Plains Drifter. But the sequel to High Plains Drifter, I forget the name of it. I didn't like that one either. But you can't love every movie, even if you love the actor. You're not necessarily going to love them in every movie. But he makes a decision at a point in his life when he's older to do a movie like Unforgiven. Unforgiven ends up being a film where, honestly, he got to co-star with Morgan Freeman. Amazing. Where he sort of pokes fun at the character he's made famous. And he doesn't do it like a ha-ha. He does it like a look. He makes a statement. And it's a brilliant movie. It's one of my favorite movies that he's done because he actually sort of outs this character and he tells this really strong, compelling story of him as a character. And it's just amazing. And then later, as Clint Eastwood gets even older, he becomes kind of a curmudgeon. And he uses that too. The brilliance of the man just doesn't stop, in my opinion. $1 Million Baby. Wow. Wow. It's just, whoa, oh my goodness. When I saw that, whoa. And then the one, what's it? Gran Torino. Wow. And then his last one, The Mule. The Mule is even more phenomenal. They just keep getting better and better. And he just keeps he knows, as they say in the acting industry, he knows his instrument. And so he knows he's getting older. He knows he can't play the young, handsome, gunslinger kind of guy, but he can still be a strong character. And if you haven't seen The Mule, oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's so good. This character, and I feel it's only Clint Eastwood could play this character. So you may be thinking that this question would have gone really, really slow, but I want to meet Clint Eastwood so badly. And I keep speaking it because I want to be able to say to him, watching your career has helped me as an actor not get too impatient, analyze before I take a role. I don't get the opportunity to take a lot of roles, but you can't ever be frivolous about what you take. If you have ethics and rules, you should stick to those rules. Watch The Good, the Bad, the Ugly and see they stick with their rules. When they don't, it can mean trouble. Okay? So thank you for that question. The studio's in El Paso. The co-star would be, obviously, Morgan Freeman, just because I think he is so brilliant. And that voice is beyond, I'm going to talk about a good voice. And it's a warm, I don't know. He just plays a lot of warm characters. There's one, I think, isn't there one movie where he plays like a villain and it's so against type that it's really scary? I could be wrong about that. It might not be Morgan. It might be another actor. But I mean, I'd love to see Morgan Freeman play against type because it would be chilling. We would be taken in by his kindness and his warmth, and then it would be scary. I love that kind of character. But that's what I'm talking about. So, and that's who I'd love to work with. As I say this, I did mention Whoopi Goldberg. I think another person, female, that I'd like to work with, and I met her, and I absolutely think she's just a gem, is Dame Judi Dench. I just love her. I got to sit for 20 minutes on a stage and talk with her after a Screen Actors Guild event where I hung back just to want to tell her I love her body of work. I'd love to work with her. She's so brilliant. There's so many though. You could go on and on and on. Couldn't you? Meryl Streep. I mean, what hasn't Meryl done, and how fun it is to watch Meryl do these various characters that she does. There's just a ton. There's a ton, right? There's a ton. If you watch Black Panther, anyone in Black Panther Army of those females, yeah, I'd love to be next to them. I'd love to be in their presence. They're so much fun. They are so much fun. I like him too, but the women, wow, So there you go. Okay. All right. Stop. Recent Hollywood celebrity deaths have included, I know, right? Is this nuts? I have never seen so many cross over in a very long time. But Hal Holbrook, Cicely Tyson, Cloris Leachman, and do I have memories of their work? Cicely Tyson, noted for elevating the image of Black women like Sidney Poitier did as well for Black men, right? Just as it said here, it's actually in the question. But as I mentioned, I never got to meet Cicely Tyson, but one of the things I love about her was she talks about, she had a couple of roles in the beginning and she had opportunities to have more roles in the ending, but she wasn't going to play anything she thought was degrading to Black people. Which meant between her role in the beginning roles and Sounder was about 4 years plus. But you got to stay true. You got to stay true. You got to stay true to your heart. If you're all about not smoking, don't do a smoking commercial. If you don't believe in vaping, don't do vaping commercials. You can do a PSA about not vaping, but don't do commercials. If you don't drink, don't do alcohol commercials. Yes, it may pay a lot of money and it might pay your Visa bill, but it's inauthentic, isn't it? It's a hard choice to make. And if you're one of those people who makes that choice and goes through with it, that's your business. But with Cecily and myself, it's not on the plate. Never got to meet Cloris Leachman. I would have, what am I saying? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. At an Emmy show with my husband, she was sitting in the row in front of us. And we got to tell her how much we loved her. Frau Blucher. You see, I have to do that every time I say her name, because that's like one of my favorite characters she's ever done is that one in Young Frankenstein. And if you haven't seen Young Frankenstein. And let's talk about people who you never got to work with that you would have loved to work with. Gene Wilder. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I just love him in that. I loved him. Help, murder, please. Don't. The world is slowly going and everything is turning. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love him. He's just, oh my God, so good. So good. So good. Yeah, Hal Holbrook didn't get to meet Hal, but he does a great Mark Twain. I loved it when he performed Mark Twain. And he's also, I'm pretty sure it's Hal Holbrook who's in The Fog as the father. I think it's Hal Holbrook who plays the father in The Fog. One of my favorite scary movies. Thank you, John Carpenter. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love ghost stories, love suspense. That was a killer great movie. Ho, ho, I still love that movie. Wowzer, that's a good one. The Fog. Yeah, if you haven't seen it. And it's young people getting together, creating something that just turns out to be amazing. Thank you, Carpenter. And I met Adrienne Barbeau, his wife at the time, while working at a photomat store. That's a little kiosk that people drove up to and dropped off their film. Film being a little canister that went in your... Yeah, never mind. Anyway, she walked up to the place to get film developed, and I got to talk to her about her and her husband and The Fog, because I was a huge, 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 huge fan of both of them and their performances in The Fog. So, yeah. Now people say nice and light-hearted questions. What is your favorite dessert? Little challenging. But the first thing that came to mind and popped in my head is ice cream. When I travel, before the current situation, if I hear the word homemade and ice cream, I'm there. I can be full to here and I see homemade ice cream, I'm there. And back east and like Boston and places like that, Boston, Cape Cod, Cotuit, Martha's Vineyard, that kind of area, you know, up in there. They have a lot of people that make homemade ice cream and it's just a joy. So I have these great pictures of me with ice cream. Let me see. Oh, tarantula. My husband must be watching because he said Clint Eastwood behind the mask as a pilot is in the movie Tarantula. Leo G. Carroll. You remember Tarantula? See, I love 1950s horror films, okay? So monster movies. And there's a giant tarantula that gets out. Scientist uses a growth serum, giant tarantula in the middle of Nevada. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's really good. Anyway, that's the one where he was the pilot. So it was not the other one. Thank you, Lindsay. He's so sweet to just text me that, isn't he? Of course, I lost my train of thought. I was going to show you something, and now I can't remember. Oh, favorite dessert. Sorry. Ay, 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 ay. Let me see if I can find this quickly. It is a favorite picture. Yes, here we go. There's a couple of them because I told you I'm an ice cream nut. So let me see if I can show you a super ice cream nut shot, or I have a secondary ice cream. I love ice cream because there's a lot of them. I mean, my husband, when he traveled with me through Boston and Cotuit and so on and so forth, he took pictures every time I had ice cream, and he did kind of like a slideshow of me doing ice cream, showing ice cream. But here I am on my birthday, having my favorite dessert. Let's see if it's going to pop up. There it is. And there I am. So what you're seeing is my favorite dessert in my right hand, ice cream, and in my left hand, a chocolate malt. But the chocolate malt has to be made a certain way. Have you ever had this situation where you have a chocolate shake or malt and it's got to be made? Are you particular? Okay, so in the old days, they made a chocolate malt with vanilla ice cream, chocolate syrup, and malt mix. That's the right way to do it. Later, fast forward to most people nowadays, they do chocolate ice cream, malt, and of course milk, chocolate shake, of course, and malt. So no, chocolate malt cannot be chocolate ice cream. It has to be milk, chocolate syrup, vanilla ice cream, and malt. I don't like them the other way. There's my purist coming out. So in my favorite dessert, those are my two favorite desserts, a chocolate malt. Woohoo! Mel's Diner does a great one. I don't know if Mel's Diner is doing takeout, but if they are, that's where you would get your chocolate malt because they do it the right way. Vanilla ice cream, chocolate syrup, malt mix, and milk. Yum! Yum. Yeah. And if the ice cream is homemade, oh Lord have mercy. My favorite ice cream is coconut, but not pineapple coconut, which is a sherbet. No. It has to be cream, coconut flakes made into an ice cream. And honestly, the only place I could get it is places like Martha's Vineyard and back east. They make it like that. On this side of the Mississippi River, for some reason, I cannot find that ice cream without something else in it. Meaning they might make a lovely coconut ice cream, but they've got to put they've got to put a ribbon of chocolate in it. No, not what I asked for. I'm okay with Baskin Robbins toasted coconut, because it's toasted coconut and almonds, my other favorite thing. So I'll give them that, especially since if I don't, I'm never going to get my coconut. But what I really like is the white flaky coconut in vanilla, frozen. Many of you might right now be saying, let it go, let it go. But that's my favorite dessert. What was your favorite board game to play as a child and your favorite activity on the school playground? This is so cute. A cute and sweet question. Thank you. My favorite board game, a board game that I would play until it was broken, was Mousetrap. I loved Mousetrap. Why? Because you built it first and then you played it. So I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. It's just marble, kinetic sculpture. You see where I'm going with this? I love that game. To this day, I love it. I don't have one, but I love it. I also love director sets. Those were metal sets, and you made things that move by twisting and put. Never mind. But that was my favorite game. I love that game. Favorite activity on the school playground was jacks. I know you're saying what? I don't know if I could even show you, but you bounced a ball and collected them. You remember that I had asthma as a child, so I couldn't run. I couldn't play volleyball. I was bad at most sports, so no one would pick me. I was always the last person picked because I couldn't run and I wasn't good at sports and I wasn't very PE athletic. So those people that had asthma, heart disorder, handicap of whatever kind that kept them from being active in sports for whatever reason, we all sat in the corner and played jacks. Some of the most wonderful people in the world. Like I said, being perfect ain't all that great. And it was great to be what we called the misfits of science. And we drew, we sketched, and we played jacks. And it's a bounce a little rubber ball and collect jacks. Dexterity again. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. If you don't know what jacks is, Google it, because I don't even know if I could even show you what they are. But on the campus, that was it. Or we were off in a corner building stuff, because you dream of doing, at least being able to run and stuff. But, you deal with the hand that's dealt you at the time. Now I have no asthma. And one of the things that I do now is run down hills because it feels like flying for me. Because for 50 years, I'm 63, remember that. For 50 years, I had asthma that prevented me from doing it. So now I like to run down hills, which my coach says is nuts. But he gets it because it feels like flying. I don't run any other time because my doctor's like, please don't run, just walk. Will you please stop running? Just walk. So I can't walk down a hill. It's just not in my DNA. So I run down the hill, but I'm very careful. I tripped once, but I saved myself. But, my sister was a gymnastics. She did gymnastics. She ice skated. That was the other thing I loved to do. When I got into junior high, my sister became an ice skater, and there was a mall nearby called the Laura Plaza Mall that had an ice rink in it, and we both were not good when we first started. But my sister wanted to go on to learn this better, and I wanted to too, but they looked at me and they said, her long bones are glowing. No way, no way, no way. And so I used to ice dance way before people ice danced on ice. And now I see people ice dancing and I thought, wow, if someone would have thought this would be interesting, I could have been the inventor of ice dancing because I did it all the time on the ice, but I was in my own world and it was not something that appealed to people back then. But now it's a craze and it's an Olympic sport. Who thought? So anytime I see an ice dancer, I go, I used to do that before it was popular. And isn't that fun that you just believe in what you do and you keep doing it. If I had been skating and kept doing it, maybe I would have been the inventor of ice dancing. Who knows? But I loved ice skates. I still do. Yeah. So thank you for that question. It's fun. What's the most out of character thing you've ever done? Ooh, recently? um, recently, I think I told you, and this is kind of a reality, so we're going to keep it really short, the reality part of it. But the reality part is that out of character is me getting overly aggressive with somebody. Okay, that's out of character. It will happen if you scold me in public. I usually, when I'm working with an employer, I say to them, if there's something about me you don't like, take me in a room and discipline. Let me know. But if you do it in front of others, the tiger comes out. And I will not let you yell and scream at me in public without retaliating. It's not something I like. I would rather not be that person, but it happens. The other incident was when my sister was married. I went to see his family, went to see her, and he invited me to go meet his family. And his family was very prejudiced. They didn't like the way I looked. They hated the way I looked. And I could tell from their expressions. Now, the thing I did that was out of character for me was I allowed them to treat me like something they had got on their foot and wanted to scrape off. I will never, I remember saying to my sister, having dinner with her and her husband before I got on the plane to come back home, that I was never going to allow that to happen to me again, that I was never going to allow people to treat me like that again. I did it because my sister didn't want a scene made. And all the way to her husband's parents' house, she had been telling me, don't make a scene, don't make a scene. But I will tell you, some of the things that this couple did were extremely offensive. One of the things was when they went, my sister and her husband introduced me, the first facial expression I think I saw was, thank God he didn't marry her. Because my sister she has the African American skin. She's got the beautiful hair. She looks like you can put her in a box easier than me. Me, you're like, what the heck? Okay. You look at me and what, where, what's the deal? Doesn't matter. I like being what's the deal. But the point is that here was, I'm at this place. My hair is in, I think, braids, and there's a few colors in there. And I didn't have glasses like this, very simple. But I really look like a black woman and a white woman had gotten together. It's all here. You cannot ignore it. Yay for me. But this mother, my sister's mother-in-law, took one look at me and they introduced me, and she grabbed a casserole and said, I'd shake your hand, but my hands are full. Like I'm that stupid, right? So imagine, you reach out your hand to shake and the woman's, I have this casserole. I can't shake your hand. When I ate at the table, everyone sat at a big table opposite me. So I sat on one end alone. Everybody else sat here as though I had COVID. It was just a horrible experience. And I should have never, ever stayed. I should have never let somebody treat me like that. Don't ever let people make you feel less than who you are, because there was nothing wrong with who I was. There was nothing wrong with my appearance, and there was nothing wrong with my skin or my looks. But these people didn't like me because I was mixed, like I could do anything about it. And why do we even care what they think? But my sister didn't want me to make a scene, and out of respect for my sister, I didn't, and I've regretted it I've regretted it. So when I sat with them at Topo Gigio's in Chicago, which is really cute, because you remember Topo Gigio, that cute little mouse with Ed Sullivan? There's a place in Chicago called Topo Gigio's that they took me to eat at the time. And we were sitting there, and they asked me how my visit went, and I said, it wasn't that great because I really should have told your prejudiced parents off, your racist parents off, and I didn't. And being quiet can be almost as bad as not. I mean, how are they going to know if they're racist if you don't just go, wow, wow, you know? Yeah. So it's a little real. It's a little bit real. I know I'm supposed to be upbeat and stuff, but it was rough. And I never do that. I don't let people treat me this way. And I don't want people to treat you this way. This is not, I mean, isn't it what all this about? Stuff that's happening in the world is all about? Yeah. Okay, move on. Traveler or homebody? Okay, are you a traveler or a homebody? Let me read that again. Are you a traveler or a homebody? For those of you who don't know me, what would you think? And for those of you who do know me, you already know. I travel so much, I should have wings, except for COVID-19. And yes, COVID-19 has changed that. Last year in 2019, before this pandemic, I flew over 55 times all over the world, speaking to anyone and everyone who wanted me to be as a speaker. Thank you, patrons, for allowing me to do that. Inner city kids, at-risk kids, high school, artists who were lost, artists who were found, sculptors, everybody. 2019 was my speaking year where I went out and I spoke to people about being inspired, about just do it. Don't worry about what people say. If it doesn't hurt people, I mean, come on, you don't want it to as an artist, you're not usually doing some sort of art that's going to hurt people or upset people. You're doing what's coming from your body and you're not sure. And it's very challenging because as an artist or creator, you're pulling out from, you're opening your tender underbelly like a turtle. And sometimes when somebody stabs you in it, it hurts so bad you don't know if you can go further. So these are the kind of talks that I would give. And always to young kids, because if you're being bullied because your skin isn't right, your skin is different, your hair is funny, your eyes are different, whatever, a bully is going to pick something about you no matter who you are if they are on the bullying craze. Okay. And a lot of times it's not about the bully. It's the bully is going through stuff of their own and they are getting it on you because they don't want it on them. It's really weird. It's so strange. The analysis of a bully is like really weird. But anyway, yes, traveled everywhere. Enter 2020, when I had knocked it down to just 4 places I was going to go, and I only got to go to one. I got to go to Florida. And then we locked down, and that was it. I did travel in November. I had a show that I would just not do. I wanted to do it really bad when I was offered. And it was a really good opportunity for me, and I wasn't going to miss it, but I was terrified to fly. And I'm not terrified to fly. I love flying. You want to sit me next to someone who will not get any rest, sit me next to a pilot. Yeah. Or someone with the FAA, which I got to sit with last year. And I just asked him questions. And he was so sweet to answer all my questions because I love, love, love planes. I think they're the most fascinating thing, like a bumblebee. And I love space. So Story Musgrave, who is in my opinion, one of the greatest astronauts of all time, he just has to put up with me. Every so often I have this list of questions and he's real sweet about answering them, you know? And did you hear that Elon Musk is going to put a civilian in space? Would love it to be me. Could I handle it? Probably not, but I would love it to be me. I would love to be on the spaceship with the other civilians flying up in the air. That would be really fun. I'm such a space quid. It's just, I am. I am such a space quid. I'll show you how much I'm a space quid. Check this out, guys. Check this out. I should probably take it out of the plastic because but I mean, I'm really, 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 can you see this? I'll show it to you better like here. Look what I made. I made this pin to celebrate the dragon. The dragon craft. Yes, the first commercial spaceship that goes and comes back is worked with NASA, and it's called Dragon. Ah! So So I had to make a pin, and I sent it to a lot of astronauts, and I tried to send some to SpaceX and NASA. I don't know if it ever got there, but I just wanted to use it as a thank you. And I have them in my pocket. And if you see me and you tap me on the shoulder and you say something and I have one, I'll give it to you. So I was going to walk around Disneyland with mine in my pocket. And if people say, hi, hi, I'm a patron or whatever, here you go, have this amazing pin. Anyway, I digress, but yeah. Oh my goodness. What a great question. All right. So it's 11:31. We're going to stop here and go. I kind of went a little bit over today. I apologize. But now I'm going to go over to the comments and talk to you now. If you want to hang out with me over there, it's a lot more stories. I answer your questions, the fresh questions that you gave me. If you have a question, you can always hit Leo up on Facebook or in Messenger, Leo Holzer, or you can post them here or message me. Okay. So I'd love it. So first we're going to go through everybody and say good morning to people like Nate and Michael. And remember, if you're joining us again, just, little bit. Hey, Andre. And Dave, hello. Bob, there you are, my friend. And Bonnie. Bonnie's in the house. And Janet, good morning. Good morning. I bounce in and out. I can't stay all the time, but I rewatch. And thank you for that, Janet. And she brings up a good point. Feel free to rewatch because you can check the time code. You can start and stop it. You can make this all about you. And that's what it's here for. Will it change after we get COVID on the run? We might do only an hour and a half because you'll start to have lives. You'll go outside. You'll live your life. You'll go do dinner and all the things that we took for granted back then. And that's fine. But for now, I want to keep you nice and cozy warm for quite a little bit here. So that's what I am here for. And I love you for that. Did I read? Yes, I did read that. I want to make sure I did. How did you get involved with Disney, says Bobby Snyder. I can't stay for your answer since I'm working, but she can come later. I got involved with Disney at 4 years old. 4 years old, my parents took me to Disneyland, and it was a life changer. Now, the downside was my mom was obsessed. I mean, seriously obsessed with introducing me to Captain Hook. And as a kid, I screamed and kicked and hurt poor Captain Hook because he's the bad guy and I didn't want to walk the plank. I'm 4, remember. But that's when I was introduced to Disneyland. And it's a beautiful place. I think one of the greatest epiphanies for me and Disneyland, if you will, is becoming an Imagineer. Not from the Imagineer standpoint, but becoming an Imagineer, I was given what was called a Silver Pass, which meant that I could go pretty much whenever I wanted to. And I began to realize that Disneyland was more than synchronize your watch and ride every ride you could possibly ride in a day or two. It was about taking the time to look at the garden, taking the time to watch the dancers near Carnation Square as they jitterbugged and foxtrot on a Sunday evening. Going to Disneyland simply to shop for Christmas. Going to Disneyland to spend a couple of hours with some friends and have a coffee, a cake, or breakfast or lunch. This is what I learned once I became an Imagineer, something that had eluded me all my life before that happened. Meeting people like all of you who would walk me through and tell me stories of why you collect the paper, the tickets, the forms, the bags, whatever, and why this is important. Why, when Disney offers a passport where you take it around and you get it stamped, why is this important? Why is this fun to participate in some of these games and these extra activities? To meet the characters, which I didn't do often until you guys. So my Disney experiences were great when I first was introduced to it. Wonderful World of Color, of course, on TV. Walt talking as he did. But the real reality, the real embracing that I did with Disney, besides being an artist who, after writing The Jungle Cruise, made it my obsession to become an Imagineer because of Blaine Gibson. Yeah, that's the real part of it, you know. I began to learn that through your eyes, all of you, every single one of you sees Disneyland differently, and to walk and hear about how you perceive things is one of my greatest pleasures. I really, really love doing that. And I miss doing that, actually. Have my chai Robles ready. I do not know how to pronounce the second word. Neither do I, Bonnie. But it sounds wonderful. I'm with you, Bonnie, 100%. I have the same challenge. That's so awesome. I love it. Oh, thank you. And yes, don't you think that's cool? You know, when somebody does something like that for you, you got to just celebrate it. And I really wanted to celebrate it. And I'm delicately with him because it moves. And at first I thought it might not be on, but it actually is meant to move. So for those of you who maybe had joined us late or didn't really get to see it, this was Herbert Dennison's little thing he made for me using Lego. And one of the things I absolutely love, which you can't see too well here, is the Haunted Mansion insignia that he did, and it's just beautiful. And he sent it to me as a gift, and I'm gonna put it in someplace very special. It's just clever, clever, clever. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Robin Shelby, thank you. I'm amazing. So glad you're well, my friend. So glad you say what you say, Robin. That's so nice of you to take the time to come and say that. We don't all have multitudes of time, right? Joseph's in the house. Hi, Joseph. The week was crazy. I wouldn't say it was great, but I did get some things done that really needed to be done, but the ghost suffered for it. I thought I was going to do it. You know how you think you got everything laid out and you've got that list and you're check, 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 check. Well, the ghosts were going to go out January 30th. And then I realized this challenge that I had with the paperwork. So couldn't do it, but they'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm packing them up. I'm gonna print out. I have to do that one change in that paperwork. I was gonna send them out this afternoon, but now I've got to do the change in that paperwork because I wrote the wrong word on there, and it's gonna bug me to just send it when it says close instead of lock. So I've got to fix that. But once I fix that, they'll go out tomorrow for sure, for real, for sure. And I'm excited about that. I'd love a new dinosaur series and would hope you'd have the opportunity to work on it. Yes, Joseph, I think that could be really fun. Now, as many of you mentioned, it ended at a really good point. And this is the thing I love about this show, Dinosaurs, that you can now see on Disney Plus, is that every script was thought out and worked on and nurtured and taken care of. And it was beautiful. And if you want to see the scripts, Kurt Thatcher illustrated the cover of every script, and I still have the majority of them. I can't for sure say I've got all of them, but I have the majority of them, and they're beautiful. And I'm thinking of later maybe either giving them away or selling them, but they are just an amazing set. And yeah, the scripts, and they say Terri on them because it's my personal script. But the illustrations on the front that Kurt Thatcher did are wonderful. And so it made me, I keep my scripts anyway. Okay, I do. But I love those. They're extra special. These are great photos. I'm rewatching Dinosaurs on Disney Plus, says Henry. Hi, Henry. I'm just so impressed. I watched Green Card last night, and it's still super relevant in today's climate, isn't it? It was such a forward-thinking series. It wasn't about being PC. It was about being, about being a show that wasn't all fluff, about being significant in the thing. I never realized how detailed the set was. I know, right? And like I said, the pieces pop out of the floor and you worked. It was built for puppeteers, designed for puppeteers. And thank you, Henson. That's one thing about being a Muppeteer. Things like that happen, and it was just beautiful. So I'm really happy about it. And the scripts were just very, very relevant. And today, as I watch it, like you, Henry, I'm finding the same thing to be true. I'm like, whoa, wow. Like what sexual harassment. Another one. And then there's one where they go to war. It's called Nuts to War. And we wanted to say something about nuts, and it was a little bit too borderline, I guess, for the show. And they told us we had to change it. So I remember that because it was just funny. Everybody thought it would go through and it didn't. Matt says, I'm with you. I've seen it all. Indeed, indeed. Darn it. This, Angie says, work things makes me late. I had a meeting. Guess they didn't know it was AMA with Terri time. Yeah, and I don't know, Angie, what's going to happen if you told them it was. They'd be like, what? But the good thing is you can come back and catch up. And that's why, we do these so you can watch it a little bit, watch it over and over again. And I'm currently working on doing what's called highlights, so that if there's a question you want to go to, it's going to be in a little chunk. And also coming soon, a podcast called Highlights, where it's all audio, so that if you're driving in your car or you want to listen, just hear this without the video, you can do that too. So that's what I'm working on this year. When it's actually going to pop up, I can't tell you when it's actually going to drop, but I'm working on that. That's in my head and my heart. So that's coming soon. And welcome, Angie. Better late than never, my love. I agree. Love the cast member profile shows. Inside Pixar is wonderful as well. Yes, it is. Anything inside anything, Henry. I love those shows. I love seeing things behind the scenes. I do. I think it's sometimes maybe they're not so great of a show, but I still can take a nugget. Like I remember when I got the behind the scenes of Harry Potter, and I'm not a Harry Potter fan. The movies left me a little cold, honestly, except for that I loved Hermione. She's just magical. She was good, wasn't she? But there's lots of things that I did love about the show. But what really made me appreciate Harry Potter was my husband got me that giant set that's like super expensive, and it comes in a box. I'll have to show it to you sometime. It has all kinds of things in it that I don't really know. But the thing it had was the discs, the DVDs, and it had the behind the scenes. And at that time, that was the only way you could get the behind the scenes, was to buy this massive collection. But the behind the scenes, it just blew me away, because a lot of the things that happened in Harry Potter, I thought honestly were computer generated. And to find out that a lot of the stuff was practical cracked my head open. So I like the candles that came down. I really thought those were computer generated, only to find out some candles were, but they were practical, meaning real candles, really lit, fire marshal in the corner. So I loved it. And then when I went to London to see my friends, the number one thing I wanted to do was to go see the Harry Potter exhibit, and you just couldn't get over. I think that's what I love the most. I think I maybe mentioned it before. I love the practical. The snake door is practical. It's right there. It's moving, and it's just, oh my gosh. The Wizards set, the Dumbledore's set with the little bottles and the little intricate, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So I am a big fan of Harry Potter's now because of the art that is involved and the things that they did to make this so unique and it's just brilliant. So yeah, I love behind the scenes of everything. Hello, Michael. Thank you for popping in. And see, Here is Tim Gillette, who says, see, so good to see you this morning and see you tomorrow. And that is, like I told you before, the Simple Easy events. And you saw it at the beginning. Go back and check it again, or maybe I'll do it before I leave, and you can learn more. But I'm speaking tomorrow. Yes, I am. Holly Mack, how are you? Jack and Sally, yes, I decided. Yeah, I needed to be a little warmer. I love the cold, but I love it that I can be toasty warm. So this is one of my favorite. This was offered at the Disney store, not the Disney store like in a mall, but the downtown Disney store. The, what do they call that? You guys know. I don't remember. But this was so soft. And the nice thing is it stays soft after you wash it. So I found it. I rediscovered it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to wear that. But my husband says I should have color. So I got this wonderful skirt. So thank you for saying that, Holly. Because, yeah, I love it. I could do this if there was more color, and my husband might be happier. Maybe I should tie it like a bow, like Jack's. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I love you. Thank you for saying that. Hey, Terry, I was wondering if you could recall the impression you had when you first saw Jurassic Park. The movie's FX caught audiences by surprise. So I wondered if it did the same for people inside the industry. Joel, this is a great question. This is a great question. And my husband says that, Joel, I'm going to put it down like that. I'll pop you up one more time before that, simply because he doesn't like seeing just my head. But I do. Now, Jurassic Park was extra special for us in the industry simply because I knew a lot of people that were working on it. And I didn't get to work on it, so no. But I will tell you that a lot of that stuff was practical also. And that's what I love about it, is that, you know, to watch Jurassic Park and see someone has actually built a giant triceratops that she touches the belly and it goes, I mean, for an actor, that must have been awesome, right? That had to be awesome for the performers as well. But the scene among scenes that is the best of the best is them in the Jeeps and the water tremors. Oh my gosh. It was just incredible. So great. The water, the tremor. And then they look up, the creature, and then they get in the Jeep and they're driving and it's running behind them and they catch the mirror and it says, things are closer than they appear. Genius. Just genius. The performers who did the Velociraptors, absolutely wonderful. And that's the way I look at a movie like Jurassic Park, Joel. Is I'm looking at it going, wow, look how fast this is moving. Look at the toe bit where they're shooting the feet that are running. That's a person in the feet running. That's a suit performer. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that I look at and I go, oh, the puppeteers are making this look really cool. This is really, like, this is real. They're making it, they're manipulating it so smoothly, so effortlessly. The raptors are great as they turn, and I know someone's doing this work. So my impression was, these teams are fantastic. This movie is fantastic. Now, when I saw it the first time, I really didn't like the end where the T-Rex comes in and the banner comes, and I really felt he should have a red cape with a big S on it, like Super Dino. But I've watched it since then, and I like that. It's grown on me. I like it. But I have to say, there are sequences in there that just sell it. The little girl with the Jell-O, you know, is just wonderful. Just wonderful, wonderful. And they're, I mean, if you're someone who hasn't seen it, I'm sorry if I'm sharing spoilers, but the movie is old. But it's excellent. You guys have got to see this. And maybe you watch it again with the idea that there are people creating these characters. There are people in the legs doing the running, people making the heads move, people making that giant dino come to life, that giant Rex come to life, people making the breathing when she's trying to find out why this animal is sick, people turning the head when it sneezes, all of that. Now, there is a sequence that is CG, And it's a sequence where they hear our leads hear a rumbling, and they look and they get scared, so they jump over a log and pull themselves against the log, and all the animals jump over. All of that is computer generated. Of course it needed to be, of course it had to be. But this movie is so great, and Joel, I'm going to thank you for mentioning it, and I'm going to show you again. I'm going to say, for mentioning it, this is really great because it showed a good marriage between computer generated and practical effects. And this is what I think works best in films today, is you don't make it all CG or generated, you make it practical with. You don't make the soup without the vegetables. Okay? Broth is yummy, but it's better with some stuff inside, my opinion. But thank you for that, Joel. It was wonderful, wonderful comment. Wonderful. Just joining now. Hi, Jessica. Better late than never. I had pet mice years ago. They are so sweet. So here you go. I show you this mouse, and Deanna says, "Oh, I remember pet mice." Exactly. You can bet that the animators of Gus Gus and the characters in the original Cinderella had mice to look at. They weren't necessarily dead mice like my preserved mouse. But that's how you get the movements and the sweetness. And then as animators, you can pull into the characteristics, still keeping the bones right, but playing with the rest, right? Yeah. Bonnie says, I'm back. Had to work, meeting as well. Yes, glad to have you back. Morning again, says Gianna. Hi, good to see you. How are you? That is so nice of you to say hello. And my husband says tarantula. See, when he didn't get it through the quiet, he just said, let's say tarantula up front. Again, the Clint Eastwood movie where he's super, super. This is the thing. Wouldn't it be great to sit opposite Clint Eastwood and say, what was it like when you landed the role in Tarantula? He might even not remember. Because I'll tell you something. Burgess Meredith is one of my favorite character actors of all times. And one of the things that he was interviewed for Twilight Zone and was asked about the one where his glasses break. He's the reader and his glasses break, one of the most heartbreaking Twilight Zones ever. And he didn't remember it. He did not remember doing it. That was even more heartbreaking than the ending of it. But you can't remember everything. But it's a shame that he didn't remember it, because we really wanted to hear what he thought about it when he did it. And then he later found out it was one of the most popular ones. It's to this day one of the most popular ones. So I would love to say to Clint Eastwood, how'd you feel when you landed Tarantula? How long were you working towards being an actor, and what was your vision? And now you land a role like Tarantula. What was it like? Yeah, those are the kind of questions I like to hear from people. Makes me sad. Someone so kind can be treated as such based on looks. Family merges can always be interesting. It's true. They were happy to have my sister, though. Understand, they were happy to have my sister. Okay? They were just glad it wasn't me. And I'll tell you this, between all of us, the feeling was mutual. I was glad they weren't. You have to, but I didn't. And so that was the most uncharacteristic thing, because I usually do. No, Deanna says no one person is pure. See, mixed, I'm like, I wear it like a badge of specialness. I'm mixed, right? I'm a mixed chick. I love it. It's what makes me me. And it makes me more tolerant. Usually it makes me love all different levels of people, and it's a blessing. I was blessed to be mixed. I mean, I'm the daughter of pioneers, a black man and a white woman who fell in love during the time Rosa Parks was looking to get on the bus. My white mother and my black father looked at each other and saw love, not hate, love. I mean, at a time, when there was segregation, black water fountains, white water fountains, black entrances, white entrances. You can't sit at a counter if you're black, but you can if you're white. All that stuff. through all that magma, my mother met my father and they fell in love. Pioneers. And I am the result of that. And so do I strive to be a pioneer as much as possible? You betcha I do. I would love to sit next to you on a plane. Thank you, Janice. You know what's funny about people sitting next to you on a plane? When I traveled all the time, you wouldn't believe how many people don't want to sit next to me for whatever reason. You don't even know what the reason is. But I can be on the aisle seat, have 2 seats next to me, and it's one of the last to be filled if filled at all. I've always found it very interesting. Who knows? Maybe I look like a talker and they want to sleep, is what I've usually said to myself. They might think that because I'm smiling up at them or whatever, that I might want to chat and they maybe want to have a rest. So that could be the challenge. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Mark Silverman is in the house. Remember, I told you, put Margaret Carey in space. No, me. Does Margaret even like space? Mark. Why would you put Margaret in space if she doesn't want to be in space? Do you know that for sure? And she can only go if I get to go too. That's the rule. I want to see Earth from space. Anyway, Mark Silverman, as I mentioned to you when you were asking about the voiceover question, he does a lot of voiceovers. That's his job as a voiceover artist. And he does a great Maxwell Smart and Rod Serling. You may, if you were at the Tower of Terror before it became the Guardians of the Galaxy experience, remember Rod Serling speaking with you. That was the awesome and incredible Mark Silverman. So listen up. Supposedly donate to St. Jude Hospital and your name gets entered to go into space. That's one way. Yes, one way to do it. And I don't want to donate to St. Jude because I want to go into space. I don't think that should be your reasoning. If it is, fine. But St. Jude is an amazing organization. And a lot of times you come across people from St. Jude or working as St. Jude as their charity because their children have benefited from all of the wonderful things that St. Jude does. And I remember a couple of years ago when I was doing the chalk walk, and I'm talking about the chalk walk, a couple of years I was there was a young man who recognized me, and we sat down and we talked about St. Jude. It was his charity, and he said that that St. Jude had saved his life as a young child. It was a wonderful story. And so donating to St. Jude is an absolute no-brainer, whether you get to go into space or not. It's a great charity to have on your charity list if you're so inclined. It's a great charity. It's one that I love and have donated to regularly. Love the pin. Thank you, Janice. Me too. I love it. I always wanted to fly in space as well. I'm glad there's so much going on with getting back into space flights since the shuttle program. I'm with you, Joseph. I'm with you. I'm with you so much. Yeah. When the last shuttle came down, I was heartbroken. And thank goodness for the NASA channel because I get to see Earth from space. Because will that be on my bucket list? One can dream. And I am doing a lot of dreaming and a lot of hoping and a lot of wishing and a lot of praying, as well as doing both things to possibly get in this group that goes to space. I'd love to go to space. I would. If not, I'll live vicariously with the other people, but I would love it. I don't know how I would handle it because I get severely motion sickness. I told you this. Story Musgrave, he's so funny. The shuttle pilot, he commanded like a lot of shuttle missions, said that everybody gets air sick and everybody gets, motion sick. And he said, suck it up, just go. Every time I tell him, I don't know if I can handle it, he goes, no one can handle it. Just go. And I think that's quite adorable. So anytime I get nervous, I talk to him. Hello, May. How are you? I also had a pet tarantula as a kid. See, Deanna, she's all about, see? Some things are weird to some, but not to everyone, right? So my little mouse is, And he says, hey, you. Hello, good to see you. Krista Joy, how are you doing? Now, Krista Joy is a singer. She doesn't think of herself as a singer, I don't know. Do you, Krista? I know she thinks of her lovely boyfriend as a singer, and he does a beautiful Elvis. He calls himself an Elvis impersonator. But I think when you guys tell me, I think when you think of Elvis impersonators, you think of guys in a sparkly suit kind of going, I want to win that race. That kind of thing. Kind of sort of uh, a kind of overblown. And Peter isn't like that. Peter Alden is a different, he sings like Elvis, okay? His voice is like Elvis's voice, and he looks a bit like Elvis. So he has tailored his hair and his sideburns to look like that. But it's his voice that really comes through as the true Elvis. And when I was there the last time connecting up with him and Krista, they live in Florida, he sang gospel. And I have to tell you that was my favorite, because as a little kid, my mother loved listening to Elvis. And it was always the gospel record she put on. Well, she didn't always put the gospel record on, but as a little kid, I would always sneak and want to put the gospel record on because that was my favorite. It just beautiful. The way he sings gospel is beautiful. And Peter's got it down. He's got them all down, really, but though that's my favorite that he sings. And so whenever I'm around and he's doing something and I'm in the audience, he always does at least one gospel tune as a favor to me, and I always appreciate it. So I love you both, Krista, both of you guys. And Krista sometimes sings backup, and I think she should do that more because she has a beautiful singing voice. And now is the time to rock, to bless everybody with your talents as a singer. I think I think music just automatically uplifts people, and their voices do. So yes, they are fabulous. Yes, you would be a great traveling buddy. I would love to hear your stories. Thank you. Like now? Space rocks. It does. It does. It does. Krista says, have you been to Kennedy Space Center? Not in a while, my love. Only by television. Seriously, I'm just looking at it through television. And, I may have the NASA channel, and a lot of times they just show planet Earth. I was so excited when the Crew 1 flew. I have all the patches. I'm a patch freak when it comes to space. I have a jacket that's got all the patches on it, and waiting for more patches that at some point I'll sew on. But the Dragon first crew and then the Dragon Crew 1, it's just amazing. So the 2 men, I watched them fly, and then I watched the 4. And of course, the one guy who's from right here in California, it was great to see his joy and his excitement. And then he did a spacewalk. I think it was last week. And I watched that because, it was his first spacewalk. Those are the things I like to hear about from people. What was it like when you first, okay? So remember I told you about Whoopi Goldberg. I wanted to know the first thing Whoopi did when she found out she was famous or successful. Successful, better word than famous. In other words, she had landed finally the job of a lifetime, the situation of a lifetime, and her life started going. The struggle, which can still happen, but she became Whoopi Goldberg, who we all knew and love, right? What was the first thing she purchased when she wasn't starving to death? And she said shoes for her daughter and about $600 in underwear. And isn't that a great Whoopi Goldberg answer? She hadn't had money. They struggled. Maybe your underwear gets a little holy because nobody sees it. So you feed yourself first. You make sure your outer clothes are as clean as they can be, whatever, when you're struggling, right? There are tick marks: food, clothing, place to stay, or place to stay, food, clothing, or food, place to stay, clothing. You know your order, right? And she was on the edge because she was following her dream. And she tried to get other work, she said. One of the other things she said that was very insightful was she even tried to do a strip club, and they said, put your clothes back on. Because there's a time you figure, I got to do something to feed, especially when you have a little child, you start to think, what can I do? And she was a go-getter, and she still is to this day. She's so super smart. She's so amazing. She's so wonderful. And she just inspires me. She helps all of them. When you ask them about that first thing, or about when they were younger, and what would they tell their you're now well known. What would you tell the person that was struggling? I remember Amy Adams. I was watching a live Q&A with the one where they're all doubt. And Amy Adams said she would tell her former self, who was trying so hard to be an actress, a successful actress, to chill, relax, take a breath, enjoy life, and believe that it's going to happen at some point in your life, and just keep going. And it was so profound. It was so lovely to hear that. Meryl Streep said she wouldn't worry so much about her weight. Apparently, she was always worried about her weight when she was up and coming. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because she just isn't someone that I would think would worry about something like that. But there she was, you know? So it was cool. It was cool. Philip Peter Hoffman, who was the minister or preacher, whatever, priest, whatever, in Doubt, when she said that, he was laying back and his belly was kind of up and very proudly in front of him. And he took his clothes and they kept falling back. And he was like, what? Because she looked at him like, he's like, what? Men don't have to worry about that, says Meryl. And he was like, what? He was such a lovely man, wasn't he? So I miss him. So interesting, just interesting of getting the chance to ask these people something, what was it like? Ridley Scott, when I got to walk with him on the Blade Runner set, I was curious to know, when he was doing Alien and he finally found that correct person, what was it like? I told him I'd worked with her. And he said he knew she was it. Well, Sigourney Weaver said she had just done a play or something, and she was wearing what she called her hooker boots. And she was going to change them for Ripley, but she just didn't have time. She was late already, and she wanted to get in to do this audition. And she's tall. She's tall in stocking feet, believe me. So can you imagine if she had real high heels? And she came in and she came through the doorway and bam, she nails it. So it's fun. It's fun to hear that stuff. I love that. So yeah. Everyone, have a great weekend, Deanna. Time to watch General Hospital. Next week, Deanna, or even on the Zoom call, ask me about General Hospital and Ghostbusters, okay? I know, weird analogy. Ghostbusters, General Hospital. Put that in the questions next time. Be well. Have a great weekend. I will take you. Yay! Thank you, Krista. I would love it. I would love it. Do you collect any Disney items? What is your most favorite Disney item that you have in your collection? Ooh. Let me think about that, May, because I have several. I have several that are favorites, okay? I love Tigger. Tigger's my favorite character. And one of my favorite things in my collection, I bought a house in 1998. 1994. Just before the earthquake, I put money down on a house to buy it, and we had a real hard time closing it because we kept having earthquakes. And in California, if you don't have earthquake insurance, you cannot close escrow. So it kept going longer and longer, and we started to sweat. Everybody started to sweat about my house, May. But when I finally got my house, I had two beautiful dogs. And my big dog, which was a Labrador German Shepherd mix, went all the way out to the back fence in the backyard. And this is what he found. Remember, May, I told you I love Tigger. So he dug up, and in his mouth, he brought this back. Do you see this, Tigger? So I knew the house was meant to be mine because he came back with this Tigger. And this is one of my favorite things in my collection. My dog dug it up in my first home. I no longer have my first home, and the bottom doesn't really tell me what the year is, but this is a true story. This Tigger came, and I knew that house belonged to me. I hadn't even gotten my furniture cooked. I just took the dogs to see the backyard. He dug this up, and there it is. So there is the sign. This is your house. So that's one of them. That's one of them. The other thing is, and I don't have it here, it's in my office, is a Laserdisc signed by Michael Jackson. It's a very special thing to me because working with Michael was a very precious time in my life. And I really, really love it. So it's extremely special. The this is pretty special right here. It's actually still sealed because I didn't want to open it. But this is really special. This is from 1992. And this is a keychain that Misha Sisti, who plays Charlene, and Pamela made for us. So see how it says Happy Holidays, and he made this. So this is another piece that I really, really love. That's now Disney because of dinosaurs and Disney and everything. So a lot of times it's stuff that people send me and becomes special. So this one's really special because it came to me. He built it and he made it himself. You know, drawings from kids I get. Joseph Yakovetic did a really lovely drawing of me and sent it to me. So things that are made, I love really a lot. But if it's things you can buy that you like, it's Tiggers. Just about any kind of Tigger I love a lot. My friend John gave me a beautiful Tigger that's in a cube. I'm trying to think. Oh, I put him in the light because it makes rainbows. But I'll have to show you that. It's really cool. It's a block, and then he's you know how they etch it inside. So my friend John Holhall gave me that, and I love that. So yeah, those kind of things. Painting. Young lady did a painting of me that I love. Her name is Anna Clark. And although it doesn't look a lot like me, it looks more like, it looks like me crossed with Elizabeth Montgomery of Bewitched. That's what people tell me anyway. That's real special. I'll have to if you remind me, I will, I'll write it down actually. I'll write it down, which is to activate my camera 4, and I'll show you my this is my studio, and up here above me is a painting my dear friend Philo Barnhart did of my favorite villain, Maleficent. So if you remind me, I'll show you. That's another part of my Disney collection that I love. But what would I grab if I was out purchasing something? A lot of times I don't buy a lot now. I tend to buy, like, people will have me come and talk to them during Disney and give them stories and stuff while they're at Disneyland. They plan it, and then I have a service where I'll come and I'll do it, and I end by buying you a gift. And that's usually what I do, is I just buy you guys the gifts instead of myself. Books, love all books. Love all books. So yeah, I'm a book fiend, so I love that as well. So thank you for asking, Jenny. Not my big Zoom today. Zoom is Wednesdays. This is live. Yeah. No, you never miss. You can always come back and see it, you know? And that, my loves, wraps us up for another Friday. And how long did we go? Almost 3 hours. Yes. So for those of you who have hung in, you know, I appreciate it. You know, thank you for hanging in for this part. You know, if you have any, you know, a lot of you will probably say, bring those comments in earlier and intertwine it. You know, any advice you have, put it in the comments. I don't mind hearing it. May not follow it. No. But, you know, I know that you guys are coaching with love. And that's what I love about each and every one of you watching. You hang with me and you need this, you want this, and I'm so happy to be of service. So thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for your love, and thank you so much for your kindness. And before I go, I want to put you in touch with simple, easy events right here. This is where I'm going to be speaking tomorrow. And my time again is, I have it here. Yeah. My schedule is 11:50 Pacific to 12:20 Pacific. Yeah, Tim believes if you do it on an off hour, people remember it better than 12 and 1, but that's when I'm on. And this is where you go to sign up. Sorry, not here. Here. Here's where you go to sign up and check it out. Check it out. For $20, you get, I don't know if it's forever or a year or what it is, but it's a lot more than just that one viewing. And there's lots of good content and information. In case you're someone who wants to do a podcast, you're someone who wants to, get a little more better hold on your social media. And don't we all need that? I think if you're going to talk on social media, anyone who can kind of open your head to new and other things, it could be cool. So, yeah. So like I said, I'm talking 11:50 Pacific to 12:20 Pacific. And we're going to just talk about listening to your audience, which I love listening to you. That's the best part. That's the best part. All right. Hugs, kisses. I love you. Be well. Be safe. Do something nice for someone else if you're feeling down and sad, because it'll make you feel so much better, and me as well. So my friend and I going and shopping at a place that I just loved, this wing hop fong. See, I have to really think about it because I call it something else. But anyway, if you want to go there, you're going to love it. It's got teapots. It's got bento boxes. It's got herbs. It's got spices. It's got cookies. And I'll show you next time. Okay. Love you a bunch. We will talk soon. Be well. Be safe. Have a lovely weekend. It's going to be warm here and it's going to maybe be cold where you are, but still have a snowball fight or something. Keep distance, keep safe. And I hope you enjoyed your time by the fire with me. I enjoyed it with you. Talk to you later.